Misfit Toys.
Fucking talent.
Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. How are you, ladies and gentlemen? You know what? I'm going to go this route. How are you, ladies? Don't care what the gentlemen are thinking this time. Couldn't care less how you're feeling, gentlemen. Actually, let's pivot. How you doing, gentlemen? Don't care about the ladies. Keep it to yourselves. Not asking you. Asking only the men in the house right now. Like every stand-up comedian in the goddamn world. Can I hear it from the ladies? What about you men in the house? How about a round of applause? Shall we do it? We shall, because why? We're sheep doing what a comedian tells us to do. Why not, right? How if I go this way? Hey, ladies, how you doing? And there are no ladies listening. What if there's no ladies listening to this show at all? Who have I asked then? I should just be asking the gentlemen. Hey, gentlemen, how are you? What if there's no gentlemen listening to the show? It's only ladies. Here's a good way to figure out if there's ladies listening or gentlemen listening. Hold on. All the ladies in the house say yeah. Oh, look at that. All right, we've got some ladies listening. Let me do this. All the gentlemen in the air, raise your hands in the air like you just don't care. That's not helping. Not helping me at all. Got to be honest with you. I don't see. It's not a visual medium. Foolish me. I don't know what I was thinking. Perhaps I wasn't even thinking at all. Because I'm distracted. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Here's what happened. First of all, my mouth seems kind of... Hold on. I drank some water to try to rinse my mouth and make it broadcast worthy. But it feels a little sticky. My mouth feels a little sticky. I feel like I've been drinking syrup. Chugging some syrup right out of the old bottle. You know, during the pandemic, I decided to be a syrup guy. And by that, I mean I bought waffles. During the pandemic, you know this, I bought waffles because in the morning I was making breakfast sandwiches with waffles. What a fat monster. I was making ham and cheese and egg sandwiches. Well, all right, it started out with scrambled eggs, ham and cheese, and then it started to pivot. And instead, I stopped making the eggs because that's the actual hard part. Microwave does the rest. You toast the waffles, and then you microwave the ham and cheese to get it all melty or whatever the fuck. And then you scramble a couple of eggs in a pan. And then here's the thing. I did that for a while. And then I went, why am I even making these eggs? This whole thing could take 5 seconds if I do it with the microwave only. Because again, if you're not going to make shortcuts, you're not going to have me on board. I'm clearly your shortcut king. The fuck was I even telling you? Oh, so then I bought waffles, right? And because initially it started off where I was just going to eat waffles, like some eggs and waffles maybe. Because I'm not that fucking guy. I haven't been that my whole life. Like for breakfast, when I was super fat, it was fucking cereal. I could kill a box of Fruity Pebbles in a day, and then eat Pop-Tarts with it. God, I love it. But then during the pandemic, and then I didn't eat breakfast a lot on my own. Sometimes I started to whip up some eggs, and I liked doing that when I was lifting. But then we pivoted from that, and we said, no, we're not going to do that. A lot of pivoting going on in this show, apparently. But I'm a cereal guy. I always have been. But then I was like, there's no reason to drink milk. So I kind of excised milk. Although I'm not a non-dairy idiot. I'm not a celiac. Who are those fucking idiots? Who have a disease that for some reason I can't tolerate. Gluten-free is not the same as dairy-free. Well, there's dairy-free and gluten-free. And never the twain shall meet. You can only be one or the other. I'm telling you that right now. I'm drawing a line in the fucking medical sand. Right now in the food sand. If you're dairy-free, you must eat gluten. If you're gluten-free, fuck you. Choke down some dairy. I don't want to hear you, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a guy, I'm celeriac, or whatever the fuck. Well, celeriac's an actual vegetable. I don't think that's a condition. Celeriac is a well, maybe you could be. Maybe you got a condition where you only eat fucking celeriac, which is not celery, and it's not a rutabaga, but it looks like a fucking rutabaga if I remember correctly. You got to peel the fucking thing and cook it and eat it. I don't know. Isn't it? The celeriac, it sounds like one of those things that I'm sure they use it in some fucking Indonesian cuisine or something, but nobody here in America really uses it. Nobody softens up a celeriac in their goddamn air fryer and then eats that like a bloomin' onion, which would be fucking insane. You know what I did? I'm not going to lie to you. I was out, when I had one of my job interviews, one of my many job interviews that I've had recently, I was down in Hollywood, and when I'm down there, I'm like, well, what's a place down here that I never go? Because usually I frequent the places in the valley. Because again, I'm making shortcuts on fucking waffles, for Christ's sake. I'm going to go venture more than 5 miles to get food? I don't think so. And there's a lot of places I like around my house. So when I'm down in Hollywood, though, I'm like, all right, well, where can I go? What's a place down here that I like? And there was a place, I'm not going to name it, but it started out as a food truck, and I never got to eat at their food truck. And then they got a brick and mortar. And I was like, all right, well, you know what? That's close by here where I'm interviewing. So let's go pivot and head over there. Again, more pivoting. So I went, and it was daytime. I parked. It's kind of a bar food place, but it was open. And they offer their own version of the bloomin' onion, which you may have had at the Outback Steakhouse. Crikey, there's a bloomin' onion coming to your table. I don't know who that is. It's an English pirate who's eating it at Australian Steakhouse. I don't know why he is. You know why? Because the chip shop was closed. He wanted fish and chips. He wandered over there. He tapped on the window. He said, any mushy peas in there for me? And they said, no, sir, we're closed. And he said, what's your accents? And they said, well, you're in America now. We don't just hire English people. We make English food, but we're not just going to hire English people. And he said, crikey. And he said, with language like that, you should find the Outback Steakhouse. And he went, right. He went over there. And so he goes, he goes there. Was this a story about him? No, it's me. I went to the Bloomin' Onion house. And it's a chicken sandwich house. That's the thing, is they're famous for their chicken sandwiches, but then they started making this, and I can't even say, it's not like they put their spin on it. They just made a fucking bloomin' onion. And I would read about it all the time on their Instagram, or people would be testifying about the joint, and they'd be like, oh my God, you've got to try this bloomin' onion. It's fucking amazing. And so I was there for lunch, and I walked in, and the burly bartender came to take my order. I said, first time, yawning, first time here, man. What am I getting? And he goes, well, everybody seems to like this and this. I go, all right. I go, I'm getting the bloomin' onion. I know I'm getting that. He goes, good choice. And I said, I have to get a chicken sandwich? He goes, you probably should, because that's what we're known for. I said, terrific. They then brought over, and then I had a Sprite. And so he goes back there and he cooks. And by the way, while this is going on, there's I couldn't tell if it was a guy leaving his job for another opportunity, or an entire office had closed down and these people were just getting drunk at lunch. I don't know, but there were gifts being opened that seemed like farewell gifts, but they were all opening them. So I don't know if their whole team got fucking laid off, but boy, were they loud in the afternoon. I mean, this is like 2:00 in the fucking afternoon. And look, it's Hollywood. Who the fuck cares? Everybody's down there rampaging, celebrating whatever the fuck they got to do. But they're eating, their table was just a wasteland, just fucking decimated, and beers and all sorts of shit. And it looked, again, they were happy. They didn't get on my nerves or anything like that, because here's the thing. I don't get, just have a good time. I'm not mad at anybody having a good time. And they're not spoiling my good time. And also, you know what? Fuck you. I came in after them. I can't come in and start. What if I did? Even if they bothered me, which they did not, I can't sit at a table, order a fucking fake blooming onion, and then go, you know what? All of you people shut up over there. I don't care what happened at your job today. Wrap those gifts back up. You can't open them in public. I don't know who I am. And I'm just, because I try to be cool and tolerant and a nice guy, and I want to be that guy, but inside of me, there's Mr. Wilson from Dennis the Menace, who wants to burst out and fuck with people all the time and go, hey, I don't know who you think you are, but you can't be using blue ink in this part of town. What the fuck? What are you talking about? I don't know. Arbitrary rules and bullshit. I gotta grow up, or I gotta actually grow down, because I'm too fucking old at this point. But I wasn't mad at them. They were great. They were having a good time, but it was just very loud and noticeable. And I was, so they got TVs on, trying to watch that. And you're scrolling your phone because you're eating your lunch by yourself. And I don't mind doing this. So then this guy brings out what I can only say is 7 pounds of food. I mean, it's just, I don't know where this onion came from. I don't know if it was some nuclear onion that they had at 3 Mile Island or whatever the fuck. It might have been from Japan. It might have been from in Fukushima or whatever the fuck, the nuclear plant that went bananas during the fucking tsunami. There must have been an onion patch there, and they saved some of them, or it floated across and some guy scooped it out of the fucking ocean with a goddamn net, because they turned it into lunch for me. And I mean, when I say lunch, I mean, I don't mean just lunch that day. I mean lunch forever. They turn it into lunch. That's what I will eat for lunch for the rest of my life, is this particular bloomin' onion, because holy fuck, it looked like they deep fried a globe. I mean, it was fucking gigantic. And then it fell apart like the bloomin' onion, whatever the fuck. And that's a side dish. What the fuck? And also, I should have stuck with that, because the dude, here's the thing. When I say, what am I eating here? The guy, they look at me because I'm a big dude, all right? But I mean, I can't put it away like I used to. It's not like when I was a kid. So in the old days, I could fucking inhale everything on the goddamn menu. But the way it is now, I kind of got to, tiptoe around and eat whatever the fuck. And I couldn't even finish the onion. That's the deal. It's like, if I'd have known it was that big, I would have just gone onion. But then they bring this chicken sandwich that is just, I can't even... I mean, I can palm a basketball, and I could barely lift this fucking thing up. I mean, it's just, I got two hands on it, and I got to squish it down, because it's also one of those deals. It's super fucking tall. Like, stop making tall food, all right? I'm not a fucking python. I don't need some sandwich that I can measure with a fucking ruler. I'm not in a contest. I'm not on Instagram trying to win anything. It's like guessing the jelly bees in the fucking jar. Hey, can you unhinge your jaw and swallow this fucking sandwich? No, I can't. You know why? Because I wanted lunch. All I want to do is enjoy a meal. I didn't want to involve myself in some sort of endurance contest, but apparently that's what I've gone ahead and entered. Stop making big food. And some big food, look, and we all know this on fucking TikTok and the bullshit. Everybody does dumb shit like makes a block of spaghetti and freezes it and wraps it up in fucking ground beef and then makes a meatloaf out of it because it's disgusting. I can't stop watching these. I watch chef reaction things, and in my brain I thought to myself, you know what, I could probably do these reaction videos, but then I see more people doing reaction videos, and they all try so hard. There's like some, southern woman, and she's like, my God, I can't tell you, this looks like two dogs wrestling in a goddamn canoe. Shut up. You're just interestingly not funny enough to be on fucking TikTok. That's a 5-second thing. And then they had another dude, and he's just got a giant beard and a hat, and he's like, oh, miss me with that. You can miss me with that. And these, I guess the southern accent is key to these reaction videos. I don't know. Because I found one fucking chef, I think it's called just Chef Reactions. This guy's just a fucking bitter pill. And he watches things that are bad and he calls them out, but then he watches things that are fucking amazing. He's just like, God damn, these guys are amazing. I wish I could do this. And that's the way to do it, man. He balances it out where he's got 4 great ones, and then he's got, you're just making fun of shit, then who cares? But he's also praising this chocolatier that he watches all the time. And I was really happy because I found him later. I mean, I just found him, I think Lily actually sent me a video of him a month ago, and I didn't follow him or anything. But just this week, he popped up on my thing and I watched him and I was like, Jesus Christ, that was funny. I mean, it made me laugh. So I went to his page and he watches one of the people that I follow. And I was like all excited. There's this woman called the Red Bowl or whatever the fuck. And on TikTok, she just cooks in her kitchen. She's a pleasant, attractive woman, and she just makes delicious food in silence. That's what I want. That's all I want to watch. I'm not saying I want that in life. I just want to watch. If I'm watching TikTok, give me 90 seconds to 2 minutes of a pleasant, attractive person making food in silence. That's terrific. You've snared me in. I don't need a cartwheel. I don't need people yelling and shit like that. But he watched her, and he even said, he goes, whenever I see this Red Bowl, I know this shit's going to be great. And it was awesome. He watched it, and I was like, I love this fucking guy. So then I watched him tear people apart, and then I watched him love people. That's the thing. You got to get the yin, and then you also, I don't know if you're aware of this, you also need the yang. If you're going to get a black and white cookie, you can't just get black all over it. You can't just get white all over it. You got to get black and white. That's the whole point. It's in the title. So for him to do good and bad, that's what makes the channel more interesting. But then you start watching these chef reaction videos, and you see there are people, and I've talked about it on here before. I guess I didn't realize the magnitude of it. There are people who are just doing videos just to get fucking reactions, clearly. People cooking pasta in an aluminum tin pan with the fucking label still inside. I just saw, I don't even fucking know what's going on here. These people took a bunch of bananas, and I'm not saying open them. That's what you do. Hey, open me a banana. Hey man, would you open me a banana? They didn't peel them. It was just a bunch of bananas, like in the bunch. You know what I mean? They didn't tear them off individually. Probably 7 bananas with stickers on. Still with the stickers on, these assholes. And they fucking dipped them in a batter and they went to deep fry them. They just deep fried a bunch of bananas with stickers and everything, and some fucking, I don't know if there was batter. There wasn't even like any panko, none of that shit. They just dunked 7 bananas into batter. It looked like, you know what? You know what would have been huge on TikTok? Mr. Magic when me and my brothers were just throwing fucking hot chocolate mix into the goddamn flames and making huge fucking clouds of fire in our kitchen. That would have been awesome on TikTok, because it would have been just as useless as deep frying a bunch of 7 fucking bananas, I'll tell you that. So you see these people doing these terrible things, and they start making this garbage, and you're like, stop making. First of all, you're making garbage food, which is I just saw a guy making Listerine pancakes, and I was like, oh really? And then he made Pepto-Bismol pancakes, and you're like, good Christ. But you know what though? I watch his videos, because you know what? His videos are only fucking 15 seconds long. So if you're going to tell me, hey, here's 15 seconds of a guy making a Dorito omelet, I'll be like, all right, yeah, I can watch 15 seconds of that, because what the fuck else am I doing with my life? But if you're going to make it like 4 minutes, that's the thing. Those people who take fucking forever to make a beer cheese dip out of fucking Miller Lite and Kraft singles, you're like, just, this is, I mean, I wouldn't even feed this to vomit. Because even vomit, have you ever seen vomit throw up? If there was if you ever have a big bowl of vomit and you fed it something and it just yacked it onto the floor, that's what these people are fucking making. It's just outrageously bad. But again, you go to other places and they make giant food, and that's supposed to be the fucking hook. Like you get a Fat Sal's. There's a fucking joint here called Fat Sal's. I think I probably talked about it on here. I ate there twice. And it's owned by Turtle from fucking Entourage. And it's just, he was like, hey, I got some meathead friends back in fucking New York. Why don't you guys, let's do a fucking restaurant. So it's that dumb shit where they're like, hey man, let's put 3 meatballs and a fucking hunk of chicken parm and a handful of goddamn French fries and maybe some cheesesteaks and some onion rings on a big ass fucking bun and cover it with whatever we're calling gravy these days. And it's a big hit with drunk assholes. And, you know, because I don't know if anybody eats there during the day. It's one of those deals like there's a comedian named Warren Thomas. And Warren Thomas, and again, you're going to say, oh, this joke isn't that funny. But imagine hearing it in 1985. Warren Thomas is talking about Denny's, and he goes, Denny's, it's just, there can't even be a Denny. You know what? Denny's should just change their name to Hey, It's Late. And exactly right. So I don't know, man. These people have graduated from making, like I said, 7 shitty bananas, but then there are guys who are in restaurants who are making just the biggest fucking food. Fat Sally's making these gigantic subs that you could kill somebody with. You could literally, it just looks like a roll of carpeting when they hand it to you. You're like, oh, I can't wait to choke this down in the middle of the fucking night and wake up tomorrow with a migraine in my stomach. So I went to this joint, and I should have stuck with the bloomin' onion, which was fine. But then he brings out the bloomin' onion, and then brings out this chicken sandwich, and it's just, it's as tall, I wouldn't say a toddler. You ever see a baby sitting up? All right, it's like a baby sitting up. You ever see a baby when it can actually kind of, because they lay down in their blanket and they're like fucking swaddled. But when a baby actually gets to sit up, when it's about, I don't know, what is that, 9 months? I don't know, is that 15 months? I don't fucking know. I don't have any kids. When's your kid sit up? But that's how tall it was. And it's fried chicken, okay? So when you go to scrunch it down, it's all fucking edges, and it's essentially like putting your hand in a bucket of broken glass. You know, you're trying to shrink the fucking sandwich and crunch it down, waiting for a fucking, you know, a shard of batter to go right through your fucking palm and sever your fucking tendons. I mean, Jesus, don't make a tall sandwich. And then there's look, if you need more than 3 toothpicks to hold your fucking food together, it's too big. It's too structurally unsound. Put it in a fucking bowl at that point and just give me some chopsticks. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Who's picking up this sandwich and eating it like a monster? I can't even. Fuck. Because I did. I like scrunched it down. I tried to scrunch it down, and then I had to go, to the emergency room, get my hand stitched up, and then I came back still on the counter. And I picked it up to eat it. And then, it's fried chicken, but everybody makes this. Everybody's jumped into the karage wagon where they're making the fucking Japanese fried chicken or the Korean fried chicken. So it's super crisp, which is great. I do like crispy fried chicken, but I like crispy fried chicken in like a tender when I can put it in my mouth. When it's something I have to try to get my teeth around and then I go to bite it, you might as well, it's like eating, all right, by the time you're done eating this sandwich, it's like you ate a whole box of Captain Crunch dry. You know what I'm talking about? The inside of your mouth looks like you bit a landmine. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. You just lean over and the whole fucking plate looks like a Pollock painting because you're dripping blood and whatever the fuck else out of your mouth after carving the shit out of it by trying to eat shards of batter and a chicken that quite frankly has been on training with Sylvester Stallone through all of the Rocky movies. There's no... I don't want to. Don't tell me you've got some local place that makes better chicken or bigger chicken or whatever. These chickens have been roided out of their fucking minds, and I don't mind it. Again, you want to give me all the meat in the fucking world? That's totally fine. Oftentimes there are places I go and the breasts of the chicken are so gigantic, and I look, which is why I barely order a chicken breast. I only order a chicken breast if I'm getting like a 3-piece, and then it's because I just don't want to get a thigh because I don't think I'm getting my money's worth. I am a fucking, look at me. How cheap am I? You got to go thighs and legs. That's what you get. You get dark meat chicken. That's what you get. And this was a thigh on this fucking sandwich. It wasn't a breast, but it doesn't matter. It was fucking Bo Jackson's legs. You know what I mean? It was like, I told that story about the stripper we called Bo Jackson because of her fucking quads. And there was no doubt. It was like they killed her and fried her up and put batter all over the fucking poor girl. And it was just, I mean, it's too big. It's still, quit making big food. And again, 20 years ago, make all the big food you want because I could eat all of it. But now, do what I say because I can't eat it. Or I don't want to eat it. It's an unpleasant experience. So he brought over this, I mean, it was just so big. And I could hear the table legs creaking and cursing my name because the fucking food is perched on top of it. And I ate, what did I eat? I ate about a third of the bloomin' onion, maybe. And then I cut, because I couldn't pick up the whole fucking sandwich. Like I said, it was so oddly breaded and shaped, and it was just so sharp and sharded and all that fucking stuff. Sharded, not sharded. I had to cut a chunk off, right? So I just sliced off a hunk of the sandwich, and then I didn't even bother with the bun. Then I just put the chicken in just so I could get a taste of what the chicken was. And it's just that fucking, you know, like all of a sudden it's like I'm eating aquarium rocks. That's what it sounds like in my fucking face. And it was delicious. I mean, again, it's really good. The guy doesn't make bad food. It's just too big and unwieldy. You know what I mean? It's like if you were going to eat a baseball bat. All right, if you're going to eat a baseball bat and you're like, I probably could get through that. They go, great, let's wrap it in barbed wire. And you're like, no, Negan, I don't want to eat that fucking baseball bat barbed wire sandwich. I just want a baseball bat sandwich. So, you make a chicken thigh, and you bread it accordingly. Like, let's put it this way: make food a human can eat. All right, quit serving me barnyard lunches. I don't need something that, quite frankly, Joey Chestnut would look askance at because he's just like, that's gonna fuck my gums up, and I can't. I got a mayonnaise eating contest in about 4 hours, so I couldn't possibly. Just not for me. So I and again, delicious. But I couldn't eat. I ate a quarter of the sandwich, if that, just a piece, a chunk. And then I ate a third of the bloomin' onion, and then I went to take it home, and I did. He boxed it all up for me. He's like, "Wow, a little too much for you." I'm like, "Yeah, dude." I said, "That's just big ass food," and he laughed. And it's funny because I told the end of this story with Lily a couple weeks ago. It's in my car and I'm driving, and I wound up on a freeway off ramp. I was pulling up, and there was a dude sitting with his dog, like on the freeway off-ramp, and a duffel bag, and just with a please help sign. And normally I will give people a bottle of water. If I have a bottle of water, it's theirs. You know what I mean? That I don't carry any cash. But in my brain, because there's like 4 people till I get to the guy because we're at a light. And in my brain, I went, you know what, dude? This is fried food. I mean, what's it going to taste like in an hour, let alone tomorrow? Do a good thing. And so, whatever. I'm not patting myself on the fucking back. But I pulled up and rolled the window down. I'm like, "Hey, man, you want some food?" He's like, "Yep." Handed it to him, drove off. And it might have been, he might have broken his tooth that he had in his head. I don't know. I try to be a nice guy. I'm not a hero. I just like giving people fried chicken. That was actually the slogan for Kentucky Fried Chicken for the longest time. It was the Colonel down there in Kentucky. "I'm not a hero. I just like giving people fried chicken." See, look at that. I could have been the Colonel. Fucking Norm Macdonald and whatever the fuck, Daryl Hammond and those guys. You got to be on Saturday Night Live to be the Colonel. Why didn't you hire an amateur Colonel, for fuck's sake? Although I think they have one now. I think Jack Mayberry had the gig for a while too. Jack Mayberry was a nice guy. I bombed so badly in front of him once in San Diego, and he was just a friendly, nice man in the green room afterwards. He's just like, "Man, shake this off. Don't even worry about it." And I was like, "Yeah, easy for you to say." And then for weeks they were telling people the story of me bombing to tell them what not to do on stage. Hilarious. Oh man, there's a giant ice cube in my water. I almost bit it. All right, so let's get to the plugs, right? Let's just do that. What am I doing besides wasting your fucking time at this point? I'm glad you're here. First of all, I'm glad you're tuning in. Yeah, we're late, and I'll address a little bit more of that with Lily. But truth be told, I mean, I did a 3-hour and 15-minute show 2 weeks ago, and then kind of couldn't find my way to the microphone, and we're back. So we're here. And do you know, let me tell you this. Do you know I'm part of the Misfit Toys Co-op? What? Yes, I am. Misfit Toys. Wait, was there something I meant to tell you? What was I even starting to tell you about? I thought there was something in the beginning. I was going to tell you I'm distracted because it's kind of still happening. I'm recording this very late. Late or early, depending on your viewpoint. And it's hard because I've been trying to get my sleep schedule squared away, and now life has taken a hairpin turn, so it looks like my sleep schedule is going to go back to what it was. You'll hear all about that with Lily. But I'm recording this late, and I'm trying to decipher what's going on, but there's constant noise from my neighbor. Okay, remember the neighbor that used to have the baby? Well, somebody's moved in there. I met a lovely young woman who lives there. And then I met the guy who lives upstairs, and I actually had to come up with mnemonics so I could remember their fucking names because I'm old now. But the guy upstairs rides a bike, and I had a nice little chat with him about bicycles and things like that. And then the neighbor next door, I introduced myself. That was nice to see her getting into her apartment. But right now, as I speak to you, I don't even know if you can hear it in the background. I often think you can hear things in the background and they sound very loud to me, but then it turns out, nope, nobody can hear them, and I'm the only guy, and then I sound like a fucking whistlehead. So I will just tell you this is happening right now, and you probably can't hear it. I've narrowed it down because I don't know where the sound is coming from. It's in my bedroom, so it's either above my bedroom or next to my bedroom. I can't determine if it's the people upstairs or the people downstairs. So I've narrowed it down. Either the people next door to me are fucking, and their headboard is hitting the wall with rhythmic intensity, or the person above me is dribbling a basketball. It has been for a while, and I can't figure out why he won't stop. So, because I can't pinpoint where the noise is coming from. Now, look, I haven't gone and put my glass on the fucking wall or anything like that to hear the thing. I'm not Gladys Kravitz, but at the same fucking time, I can just hear this pretty consistently rhythmic thumping coming from that quadrant of the house. And by house, I mean apartment. So there you go. So if you hear that in any way, shape, or form, please know that I am not fucking anybody, and I am certainly not dribbling a basketball. It's all I can do to just hold down the fort and deliver you a show that's entertaining. But maybe I should, you know what? What if I could fuck while I did this show? Would you want to hear some of that? Is that something that would interest you? What about basketball? What if I could dribble a basketball while I did this show? Now we're getting into AGT territory. You just podcast, you're a podcaster. You sit at a microphone, you talk, big fucking deal, right? But if you could fuck while you're doing the podcast and still be entertaining, still be interesting or funny, then look at you getting the job done, right? Look at you laying pipe and then fucking pouring out your dulcet tones through the goddamn airwaves so everybody hears you broadcasting your fuck knowledge, or dribbling a basketball. So I don't know if it's a cliche at this point. You ever see like movies about basketball where the point guard brings the ball to class and he dribbles through the hallway, he dribbles through to his room. I guess he was doing that because he wanted to be a basketball player. If I did it, it would just be because I wanted to be annoying. It's the only real reason for me to be dribbling a basketball while doing this show. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not a left-handed dribbler. I could not do it. And look, when I say I can dribble with my right hand, I mean, I have to look at it. I can't not look at the ball when I'm dribbling. Basically what I'm telling you is if there's some sort of podcasting basketball team that gets put together, I will not be the point guard. I am not involved in that sort of, I can't, because I'm seconds away from hitting it off my foot or bouncing it off a rock, and it goes askew, and then my hand doesn't know where it is, and then it gets stolen, and those guys go down the floor and dunk on us for the fucking winning title, and then all of a sudden, who am I? I'm the fat guy in Teen Wolf who's sad because fucking Michael J. Fox isn't a wolf yet, and we're getting our asses beat because I dribbled the ball off my goddamn rock foot. But yet, here I am to tell you that that's a possibility in the future. I'm going to hold it. I'm not going to discount it. I'm not going to discount fucking on the show. I'm not going to discount dribbling a basketball on the show. Let me ask you this. How do you feel about me fucking and dribbling a basketball on the show? Boy, oh boy, that's got to be, because you got to time, every bounce has got to be with a stroke, like boom, 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 boom. You got to be thrusting, right? Although I guess, you know what, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound like a lazy thing, and I don't mean it to be lazy. but you got to go cowgirl if you're doing the podcast, right? Or reverse cowgirl. Probably reverse cowgirl. She doesn't want to look at me while I'm talking on the air. Hey, honey, I'm on the air. I think you got to go, because cowgirl, she'd be looking at you, but then you know what? Here's the thing. Then it's somebody you're interviewing. Maybe you do that. Let's see. Are there any interview subjects out there who would want to fuck on the podcast and also do an interview at the same time? And by the way, if you can understand any of their answers to any of my questions, I do not know my business. I'll tell you that right now. Although I guess, well, no, I can't go down on anybody while I'm on the podcast because then that's not going to be much of a podcast. I don't think so. Anyway. All right. Stop this nonsense. Why am I talking about things? I've veered off into some sort of this degenerate territory, and I don't mean to do that. It's a family show. Did you know I'm part of the Misfit Toys Co-op? Let me tell you that right now, and you can take it to heart and run with it. There's all sorts of toys. There's all sorts of shows also under the Misfit Toys umbrella. There's the Never Not Funny show. That's the flagship. I think that's the blowtorch, certainly, of the Misfit Toys Co-op. And this week, I will tell you this, just throw this out there. Our good friends over at Never Not Funny have one of our favorite people on the show, the lovely and talented Todd Glass, who not a lot of people funnier than that guy. And he is out there right now. He is over there with the gang, which is, of course, Jimmy Pardo, Matt Belknap, Garen Cockrell, and the lovely and talented Elliot Hochberg. He's your video Sherpa. He's getting it all done. He's making sure all the cameras and the 4-camera shoot are squaring it away. And then Todd is in there because nobody, it's funny. No, I don't think, Todd's a good laugh. Okay. I'm not sure if anybody makes Todd laugh like Jimmy does because, Jimmy's just fucking hysterical. And he just happens to be, he just is honed in on exactly what Todd wants to hear. You know what I mean? The kind of what Todd finds funny or interesting or entertaining is absolutely Jimmy Pardo, and it's a fucking joy to listen to. God damn it! I want to chug water because my mouth's a little dry, but there's one ice cube. It's Rogue. It won't melt. So every time I go to take a sip of my water, you might have. I'm looking at the Audacity. I see the little pop. You might have heard a clack clack in my mouth as I spit it back into the plastic cup. I don't want to bite it. I don't want to chew ice here on the show. Or we already talked about other things we don't know what it is. I'm going to put chewing ice is right up there on the list with bouncing basketballs and fucking. We don't want any of that stuff on the show, right? We're trying to decide. Look, 13 years in, let's make some decisions about what this show ought to be. What do you say? It's a non-basketball dribbling, a non-fucking, and a non-ice chewing show. Done. Perfect. There you go. That's at least 3. It's a good start to our list. Go listen to Never Not Funny right now. It's an amazing show. Our good friend Jimmy Pardo and Matt Belknap, Garen and Elliot, the whole gang. Todd Glass is on this week. It's a wonderful listen. Never Not Funny is available wherever you find your best podcasts. It's part of the Misfit Toys Co-op along with me and Doug Loves Movies. Doug Loves Movies. I'm singing that to the tune of a Tubes song. Do you know what song? I don't know if you do. Doug loves movies and rice. Oh, Doug loves them. He's so nice. Look it up. Those aren't the lyrics. Some of them are the lyrics. I didn't go full parody there. But Doug does love movies. He'll tell you all about it on his podcast. I think, you know who's a guest on there this week? Richard Widmark is on there with him. Famous actor Richard Widmark. Hold on, I'm being told Richard Widmark is dead. Richard Widmark is dead. He is not on Doug Loves Movies this week. But I will tell you this, I'm betting that Doug loves at least one movie with Richard Widmark. It's a tough name to say fast. Richard Widmark. It's a tough thing to say when you're hearing people fuck in the other room. Richard Widmark. Let me ask you this. If you were fucking in the other room and you heard me mispronounce Richard Widmark 14 times, does that kill the mood? Or are you able to just plow through it? You're just like, you know what? Let's just keep going. Wait, does he say Richard Widmark? It's Widmark. Shut up. Let's go. Let's fuck. Shut up. Let's go. Let's fuck. Shut up. Let's go. Let's fuck. The Todd Glass Show. Wait a minute. I got to plug that. Hold on a second. There's a superpower crossover in the Misfit Toys Co-op this week that I didn't even realize as I was plugging Todd Glass on Never Not Funny. The Todd Glass Show, also part of the Misfit Toys Co-op. Holy fuckaroni. Can you believe that? I can't. And I guess it makes sense to have, they're Avengers assembling, and why not, right? If you got people under the umbrella, go ahead and use them. Go ahead and hire him to be on your talk show. It's a good plan. But the Todd Glass Show, I can tell you, I do not think Jimmy's on the Todd Glass Show this week, but you can just still download that and check it out. And also, hold on, fuck that yawn. Nobody likes it. No fun with Jen Kirkman. That's right, No Fun with Jen Kirkman, also part of the Misfit Toys Co-op. You know who I think is funny? Goddamn Jen Kirkman. Her album, her Gen X album, I can't remember the fucking title of it because I'm a dork, but it just won the #1 album from, I think, Paste Magazine for Best Comedy Album of 2022, and another award, too, as well. Another place named it Best Comedy Album. Good for Jen, fucking crushing it out there. Now she's not even doing stand-up really anymore. This was a show, kind of a one-woman show type of thing that she did. She told some stories. I believe she had a stool and a lectern, possibly, and recorded it for an album. Just fucking, and then put it out there and fucking crushed it, and everybody loved it. So, No Fun with Jen Kirkman is her podcast. You can get the album as well, buy the album from her, because as she will point out to you, streaming doesn't pay anybody these days, so why not go ahead and pick it out? Go ahead and grab it. So that's Never Not Funny. Doug Loves Movies, The Todd Glass Show, No Fun with Jen Kirkman. Ouch, That's Hot with Danielle Koenig and her friend. Christine Kimmel? Off the top of my head, I don't know. But I know the show's called Ouch, That's Hot. So go check that out. It's a terrific show about danger. And boy, if you want to talk about danger, you know who you're going to talk to? Danielle Koenig. She's married to a daredevil like Jimmy Pardo out there with his leathers on, riding his fucking scooter, his Vespa, all over town. Check it out. It's a dangerous show with our great friend Danielle Koenig, and it is available also via podcasts in the Misfit Toys Co-op. They're doing the Lord's podcasting work. Does the Lord have a podcast? I don't think he does, but they're doing the Lord's podcasting work. Certainly, you should understand that. We got sponsors for this show. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. Would I lie to you? Annie Lennox asks. Our great friend, Fearful Jesuit, over there at the Paranoid Strain, he does amazing work. He's catching up to, he's finishing off the Q thing, from what I understand. He's putting Q to bed. He'd had some, I think he had a week off, and then he's come back strong and come back hard, and he's putting the boots to the rest of the QAnon people. The GQP. Come on. I'm on Twitter. I see the clever nicknames people have for these people. But yeah, it's out there now. The Paranoid Strain podcast is amazing. Dana Cunicorn? Oh no, what's happened over there? Dana Cunicorn, that's terrible news. Has she jumped? Has she gone to the other side? She jumped the fence? We can't have the Cunicorn jumping the fence. She can't lend her lilting accented voice to the other side, the other team. Hooray, I'm for the other team. No, she's not. She's for Fearful Jesuit and his team. God damn it. Up there at the compound with many, many monks. The Triple M. That's what they call it's the Triple M Ranch. Many, many monks are living there and doing amazing things. Go ahead and check it out. The Paranoid Strain podcast is available right now in the iTunes podcasting space, whatever they're calling that these days. And also, I believe it's on Amazon. I believe it's on Spotify. It's anywhere you go ahead and find your best podcasts. Right there at the top of the list, you can find the Paranoid Strain. Download it, check it out, listen to it, and love it. It's the best thing going today. Dana Unicorn riding shotgun to our great friend Fearful Jesuit. And you know what? Write him a note if you want to, which is theparanoidstrain@gmail.com. Theparanoidstrain@gmail.com. Write him a note to tell him how much you love the show. Tell him how much you're involved in this, how much you want to put the Q people down to bed with him. Join his army. He's got a Fearful Jesuit army. You know what? Convert to monkism, whatever the fuck it's called. Say you'll be silent for a year. Maybe you'll be up there at the Triple M. Many, many monks ranch. That's where you'll go. And you'll paint ships on grains of rice, and you'll pat around in your bare feet and sweep the floor with a broom you made yourself out of straw. Doesn't it sound like a great existence? Go live on his compound. He needs the help. The Triple M, always looking for people. Paranoid Strain is the podcast. And do me a favor, leave them a review in the iTunes store. Look, I don't even know. Do they do that anymore? I think they do. Truthfully, I don't know if they do reviews anymore, but if they do, go leave a good one for our good friend Fearful Jesuit at the Paranoid Strain podcast. It is available for you now wherever finer podcasts are given away for free. You're killing me, Larry. You know who else has a podcast? Oh, well, a dude that I grew up with, a dude that I know, a dude who used to work at a truck stop. Let's talk about that for a second. Guy worked at a truck stop. Guy worked at a taco stand. Guy worked at an advertising agency. Put all of those into a top hat and spin it around with a magic wand, and you're going to pull out some kind of unholy rabbit that's amazing at art and also at songs. That's our friend David Mex Hernandez. He is the king of kings. Again, it seems very strong. That used to be our friend Manny Moe. I would call him the king of kings. And I haven't seen him in a while, so now I'm pivoting it over. Once I see Manny Moe, he can re-accept the mantle. But right now I pivot king of kings over to our great friend David Mex Hernandez. And do you know how hard it is to paint guys who look like plumbers with hot bikini chicks when you have holes in your hands? I'll tell you what. But actually, here's the best part of it. Max, he's got holes in his hands from the crucifixion, and yet he has taught an iguana to dunk a basketball through it. That's just how talented the man is. David Mex Hernandez. You can find him at Facebook. Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. And when you're there, you're going to hear all about his podcast. It also has a page you can join on Facebook. His podcast is called The Phlegmcat Podcast. What? Yes. The Phlegmcat Podcast. That's 4 words. THE. I'm not gonna, why am I spelling that part? Phlegmcat is 2 words, and phlegm is PHLEGM. Check it out. Now look. I didn't get to hear it this week, but I understand he said something about possibly doing a Steelheart song. And if he did, I'm by parts shocked and, I won't lie, angry. Because he hates that kind of fucking music. And when we would talk about stuff to do, that was verboten. He was like, don't even bring it up. Like one time he did a Kick song. I made a challenge. I said, look, man, good songs are good songs. Take this Kick song and make it your way, and it'll be good. And then he did that Kick song, which was fucking incredible. It's a song called Cold Blood, and his version was cool. He made kind of a little bossa nova out of it, which was sweet. But I never would have thought he would do a Steelheart song. Like, I mean, what the fuck? But he did apparently on this week's show. And I know our good friend Jimmy O wrote to him and was like, dude, look at you stretching your vocal techniques or whatever the fuck. And so that's more than enough to get you to go ahead and check out this episode of the Phlegmcat Podcast, because you love what he's done in the past, but now he's busting loose. He's breaking out. He's expanding the walls. He's pushing the levels of his voice. As Phil Spector stares at him from behind plexiglass, and he just keeps staring at him, and Dave just keeps trying to fucking make it work. David's just like, I can do this for Phil Spector. Why not? He's staring at me. Or maybe there's Ike Turner slapping the shit out of him, telling him to fucking do it. Why are these dead guys coming back to his house and making him sing like this? Because you know what? They love the show. They love the Phlegmcat Podcast. And again, like I said, he's the king of kings. He probably ran up to him up there. He's like, hey guys, what's going on? And they're like, because Ike Turner and Phil Spector no doubt are hanging out together, both being mad at Tina Turner. There's clearly, that's what they're doing in heaven right now. Phil loved her for River Deep Mountain High, but then he also turned into a fucking wingnut with a crazy ass fucking paprikash hat or whatever the fuck it is. I forget what they call those things, for hair. He looked like one of the Hair Bear Bunch. He truly, and I'm not even joking. Like that seems like, ha, look, a comedian trying to be cute. No, I'm being serious with you. He looked like a member of the Hair Bear Bunch. Google Hair Bear Bunch, Google that stupid picture of Phil Spector, and go, holy shit, this guy looks like the leader of the Hair Bear Bunch. Yeah, that's exactly what you'll say. It'll be involuntary too. You won't mean to say it, and you'll also fight now. Every fiber of your being is going to try to fight against it. It'll be involuntary. It'll just leap out of your mouth. Holy shit, this guy looks like the leader of the Hair Bear Bunch. And then you're going to be like, Jesus Christ, why do I know all this? And you're going to say to yourself, you know what? Because it's in my DNA. The Hair Bear Bunch and Phil Spector and all this, because Mike put it in there. Mike injected me with all of this. I've got the 40-year-old boy thing running through my veins, and I have to fucking vomit it out on everybody. Why is blood coming out of your throat? I don't know. Please don't ask. What'd you have, a chicken sandwich? Jesus Christ. Did you go eat a chicken sandwich and have a fucking a bloomin' onion? So our friend David does this podcast. People love it. The Phlegmcat Podcast. Go ahead and check it out. Also, you can go to his Facebook page. Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. You know, does he plug me on his show now that I wonder about it? I wonder if he does. He should, certainly. I don't know if he does. He doesn't have to. Why would he? Nobody plugs me. There's no reason to. Hey, you want to hear a guy fuck and dribble a basketball? Go listen to the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast. That guy can't even choke down a chicken sandwich. But boy, oh boy, can he do a fucking Euro dubstep and crossover while he's deep in fucking pussy. Guy can do it. He's there. You ever Euro step into a pussy? Listen to this fucking guy's show. He'll show you how to do it. God damn it. All right. So our friend David, he's fantastic. Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. You can also hire him to do artwork, as if it's, as if the other shit isn't enough. He's doing Steelheart songs. He's got a guy named Derek. He's doing amazing podcasts, but he also churns out artwork that you can pay him for. He'll do watercolors, and oil paintings. He may sculpt something for you out of Rice Krispie treats. I don't know how he plans to do it. Maybe he'll flash fry something for you, not unlike the people I went to visit in Hollywood. Go ahead and hire him to do anything you want him to do. And I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to fucking do it, because I've never met anybody who you just said, hey, do this. And he's like, cool. And he fucking does it. And he does it better than you could have fucking imagined. He's the guy. Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. Hire him to do whatever you need him to do art wise. And you're always going to be fucking happy with it. Always, always. I'm going to sip some water now. Good. No ice cube. All right. Paranoid Strain, the Flimcat podcast. You know what? Let me ask you this. Have you ever thought about hiring me for Cameo? Have you ever? Have you ever? You want to hire me for Cameo these days? Maybe you do. Cameo, if you don't know what it is, it's a ridiculous app. You can download it to your phone, or you can go to bookcameo.com and you hire people to say things to you in private. I suppose. I guess it's kind of public. But not only this, look, you can hire me to tell you that you're a cool guy. I'm happy to do it. You can hire me to tell you that you're a lovely woman. I'm happy to do that as well. But here's the thing. Get this. If you got $20, 15 of which I'll wind up with, you can actually hire me to tell your enemy he's a fucking jagoff. I can do that. I can tell your boss to stop stepping on your neck, man. Get your boot off my neck, Whitey. Whatever you need from me, I can do it. You want to do a gender reveal? I can do that shit. Here's what I will do. I'm promising you this right now. I make this promise to you as a grown man. If you want to do a gender reveal, I will do a regular Cameo where I'm talking, and then I'll say, oh, excuse me, and I'll pretend that I'm drinking something, and it will be blue cake icing, and I'll just dribble it out of my mouth like Gene Simmons right in the middle of Firehouse. God of Thunder. He does the Firehouse is the flame. I'm not going to spit flame on your Cameo. No offense. Although we used to do that when we were kids. Lenny and I would fill our mouths with a fucking Bic lighter. You'd put the lighter in your mouth and you light it and go, and we would blow fire with lighters. It's not recommended. It's not smart. It's probably dangerous, I would imagine. Since you're putting gas in your mouth and then spitting it out essentially, but it's air gas. I never filled my mouth with gasoline and did it. I'm not a psychopath. But we would literally, and I remember we would do it, and my mom, her lighter would like run out of fucking shit, and she'd be like, why is this fucking happening? And we'd just be like, hey, because we were blowing fire while you were asleep, because we're fucking weirdos. But I can still remember the taste of it. First of all, the metal on your lip, but also you put it in your mouth and you hit the little red thing, because you're not rolling the wheel, you're just hitting the red thing for the gas, and then just it was that noise, like into your mouth. You're filling your mouth with gas, and you had to keep air out of your mouth clearly, and then you just light the lighter. You couldn't use air. You had to like blow. I'm trying to show you again, not a visual medium, but you couldn't let it roll out because it would burn the fuck out of your face. So you had to kind of push it out with your lips, and it would make a big a little fire cloud, which was pretty fucking sweet. The point is, I guess I'll do that on Cameo. I wasn't gonna. Wasn't the whole point of this that I won't do it, but I will. Apparently, I will do that. I'm saying Gene Simmons does it in Firehouse. Yeah. I was gonna dribble out cake icing, blue or pink, whatever the fuck. You want to do a gender reveal? I can do it. Or I can just do the kind of gender reveal where I just tell people. How about that? Without any visual aids, without me having to spit cake frosting all over the fucking place, take a shower after your goddamn Cameo, you selfish motherfucker. Who the fuck do you think you are? You're gonna make me scrub up after your Cameo. But I'm teasing. I'm having fun. Hire me for your Cameo, please. That would be great. I would love it. I'll spit out whatever you need. I need $15. Hire me for shit. So I will. I'll blow fire. If you want, you know what? Now that I think about it, that might be a fun TikTok. Look, I've never done a TikTok, but like I said, I'm watching all of these TikToks. I'm like, you know what? I gotta get on the fucking bandwagon. But my worst fear here, and it's not even a worst fear. It's the thing that haunts my entire life. What if I do it like everybody's like, who cares? You know what I mean? It's just like, and rightfully so. You know what I mean? I'm just reviewing people as they eat soup or whatever the fuck. I've long had an idea for what my first TikTok will be, and I've just recently started thinking, well, I should just do it. But I need a prop, and I can't find the prop. I've been looking all over the place for the prop, and I cannot find it. Eventually I will, and when I do it, that may wind up being my first TikTok. But now that I think about it, the lighter thing might be a pretty good thing to do. Although now I have a fucking goatee. I don't know if that's a smart move. Why not fucking setting fire? Actually, you know what? No better way to go viral than setting your face on fire. That's a good TikTok to start off with. But also, I got to admit, if your first TikTok involves you setting yourself aflame, setting the bar very high. Clearly setting the bar too high for future TikToks. Unless you want to just go through the whole recovery thing of having third-degree burns on your fucking mouth. Hey, guess what I got? I got a cinder tongue. Who wants to see that? Look at me lapping it out there. Jesus Christ. I burned a fork directly into my tongue. I look like one of those fucking Jim Rose circus idiots. I'm sure they're lovely people. Just because you have frisbee lips doesn't mean you're not a nice guy. Just because you have ear gauges the size of fucking 18-inch wheels, that's fine. If you want to put mag wheels in your earlobes, go right the fuck ahead. Oh, God, look at this guy. He cut off his fingers and replaced them with salad spoons. What a crazy dude. Put him on before the boa constrictor that swallowed a child. What's this? An elephant that shits on a guy and then the guy bathes in it? Oh, hire him for the Jim Rose circus. These guys are fucking weird. Wait a minute. This guy plucked out his eyeballs and replaced them with olives and tattooed olives, the eyeballs onto the olives. I love this guy. Hire him. Fucking weirdos. Guy puts his hand in a garbage disposal and grinds it up and pulls out a bloody stump. Ta-da! That's the show. Wait a minute, wasn't there supposed to be some sort of trick, or wasn't he supposed to escape or be elusive? Nah, man, he just ground the fuck out of his left hand. He's right-handed, it's fine. But that was his trick. He just went ahead and look, it's a fantastic act, but you can only do it twice. Grinds his fucking head into a bloody stump. Ta-da! Screaming. All right. What am I talking about? Cameo. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Hire me to do that. I won't do any of that shit, that Jim Rose circus nonsense. So stupid. Guy tripped and fell face first into a tackle box, and now he's the fucking host of a circus. Fuck off. All right, guy. Look, man, if you're not safe around magnets, I'm not going to trust you with my entertainment dollar. I got to be honest with you. If there's a chance you could possibly lose a lip to a magnet accident, I'm not coughing up anything to step in your big top, if you know what I'm saying. Let me tell you something. All right, I'm being honest now. I am fucking delightful. I mean it. I mean, I am just fucking great. And I look, it's my own fault because I don't tell anybody about it, but holy shit. You know what? Let's just keep it as our little secret, shall we? Let's just go ahead and keep it between you and me that I am the fucking funniest guy on the goddamn planet off the top of my head. And it's funny, I was just today questioning it. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'm funny anymore. What the fuck? He's so stupid and whiny. But then I come up with this nonsense. Look at all the dumb shit I've said here. This is hysterical. And you still got 2 hours left with me and Lily. Although that's more of a discussion than a comedy show. But still, you got a bonus hour of funny beforehand. So step the fuck off, Gigantor. Cameo. Hire me for it, right? Why wouldn't you? Don't you want to hear me ramble on? Like Led Zeppelin, rambling on? And by the way, I will put a bustle in your hedgerow for an extra $5. Don't be alarmed, man. I'll just be sprinkling on your May Queen. Oh, my throat made a noise there. I apologize. I can't edit that out. Maybe I should. All right. Cameo, hire me. Book cameo.com or put the app on your phone. And I don't care what you got. What is it, January? We're not even close to graduations or anything. It was Martin Luther King Day. I'll give you a stirring message. What if you just booked me for a Cameo and I read the speech? The I Have a Dream speech. That'd be fucking great, right? Wouldn't that be good? I wouldn't go viral for that instantly for being a fucking idiot. Yeah, it's President's Day is coming up. I think Eddie Van Halen's birthday's on the way. Hire me for any of those things. I'm happy to do it. Hire me for Eddie's birthday and I'll just, wax rhapsodic about my attachment to Edward. I got to be honest with you. Right now, I have a goatee hair that's gone rogue and it keeps hitting my lip when I talk and it's driving me crazy. So if you hear me pausing, it's because I keep trying to push it with my tongue away from my lip. And then I'm like, I just want to yank it right the fuck out. But I don't know which one it is clearly because obviously there's a bunch of hairs here and I'm just, and I don't want to pull the wrong one out. Have you ever done that? You got some shit going on and you're like, oh man, I got to yank this eyebrow out. It's too long. And you pull out 4 eyebrow hairs with the long one just still taunting you. That's if I'm not using my eyebrow trimmer, which I also own, like, because I'm a civilized human being. I'm not just yanking them out like a fucking caveman half the time. But occasionally you find yourself like if you've ever been in a car, you don't have a nail clipper, and you got like a Rogue hangnail or something like that. I will tell you this: 98% of the time, I don't fuck with it. Because, as we all know, it's a famous comedy bit. A guy named Rick Reynolds did it. A bunch of comics have talked about it. That thing where you're biting on a hangnail and then you tear it up all the way up your fucking arm. You know what I mean? You don't want to fucking deal with it. But sometimes it just drives you crazy. Sometimes you're like, I got to get rid of this fucking thing. And so then you try to nub it off and you're trying to bite it and trying to bite it down to the quick and you're trying to figure out how to make it work. So that's how I'm with this goatee right now. Like it's just, I don't know what there's one hair that's I don't know what it is. I'm trying to look, don't look, it's not visual. God damn it, shut up. All right, nobody cares. Hire me for Cameo. See, this is the kind of thing I'll talk to you about on Cameo. You want to talk about rogue chin hairs or lip hairs or whatever the fuck? I'm happy to do it. Hire me for whatever you want me to do. I need $15 is my point. And I tell you, if you don't want to hire me for anything, just send me $15. You can go to PayPal and do it. Why not? Go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, MikeSchmidtComedy.com, by the way, is a haunted house at this point. It's so non-updated. It's just an embarrassment, but I have no money to update it. And it's just fucking grim. So then when I go to it, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And you go to another page, and the fucking bio is like an eye chart. It's so fucking destroyed and it's what a mess. All right. But if you go there, it's a function. You know what it is now? It's just a bank teller. It's just a fucking, walking up to the plexiglass and getting $20. If you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a donate horn boy. And you click on that. It's the gateway to PayPal. And then you can send me a chunk of money on there. Like I said, if you don't want to hire me for Cameo, you can just go ahead and send me dough on there. Or you become a Patreon patron. Why wouldn't you do that, right? Go ahead and sign up for Patreon. And be a patron of this show and the rest of the stuff I have going on, stand up and whatever the fuck else. And now you're like, when's that happening? Well, go ahead and listen to Lily's show, or the show with me and Lily coming up. You'll hear all sorts of announcements, not really announcements, but I'll be whatever the fuck, who cares? Click on the horn boy, and you can go become a Patreon. I can't talk. So much fucking in the other room. Go to Patreon. Doing this slowly now. Go to Patreon and become a patron of this show. That would be lovely, and it would really help me out. Thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm glad. Our good friend Justin just readjusted his pledge. He doubled it, which made me very happy. He's super nice to think of me, and he doesn't have to do that sort of thing. And yet he does consistently. Here's the thing. This is who Justin is. Justin is a guy who, he just adjusted his Patreon. Like I said, he doubled it monthly. He's sent me money like 3 other times this month because he's just a good man. And he sees me as a wishing well, and he's just throwing money in and going, I wish this guy would get his shit together. And he tries to see what happens. This bottomless wishing well. What the fuck? All right. So become a Patreon over there at, become a patron over there at Patreon. Fuck me, man. You know what? Fuck. You don't want to do any of this. Why am I even talking? Book me for Cameo. Let's just start over, shall we? Did you know I'm part of the Misfit Toys Co-op? What if I did? I started all the way from the jump. I am part of the Misfit Toys Co-op, though. I am very proud of that. And also the podcast, Paranoid Strain, Flemcat Podcast, Cameo, Patreon, PayPal, all of those things exist. And I have 2 channels. Did you know that? I've got a couple of channels. I have 2 TV channels. I guess I really have like fucking, if you think about it, I mean, Facebook could also be a TV channel, and TikTok could be. And as I told you, oh my goodness, I have so much on deck there. I can't wait. I can't wait to burn my face for all of you on there. Right now, I have 2 channels that you can check out. The YouTube channel, youtube.com/the40year-old boy. It's got all of the archives of this show. Go ahead and check it out. That'd be fantastic. I'd appreciate it. Makes me happy. And I do have ideas for other things that are coming up. Wouldn't it be nice if you were a person who followed over there? Look, that doesn't cost you a fucking thing. Click a button, right? Just become a follower of mine over there at YouTube. And like I said, there's all sorts of archives of this show that you can check out, and check me out doing stand-up from 2010, maybe. I don't know. Jesus Christ. But it's out there, and it's worth it for you. YouTube.com/the40year-old boy. And also, folks, I'm at twitch.tv/ the 40-year-old boy, where I just do extensive movie reviews about movies that have just come out and nobody's seen them. Or I talk about the popular blockbuster of the day. Like, I talk about Megan. Oh my gosh, I'll tell you what, I don't really. I did see Megan though. Here's the thing about Megan. It's fun. It's fine. It's a fun way to go to the theater and hoot and holler. And that's all you're looking for these days, isn't it? But as I mentioned before, there's this thing going around. And again, I'm old. Please recognize that I'm old. Where people are just, they're touting things that are just good or kind of mid and calling them the greatest thing they've ever seen. And I understand that's every audience is different. Like I said, I thought this with Smile when I saw Smile, the horror movie. It's fine. But again, the trailer, the scariest thing in the movie is in the trailer. And that was such a fucking drag. But there are a couple of things, there are a couple of moments in the movie that are great. But it's just okay. It's a horror movie that when I was a kid, you would rent it at Blockbuster and watch it with your friends and be like, what? But these things where it hits the zeitgeist and everybody goes crazy about it is it just, I don't know. And again, this could just be me literally proclaiming to you that I'm out of touch, that maybe Smile is great and I just didn't see it. And my tastes have gone so the other way that it doesn't really land with me. And I guess Megan could kind of be the same thing. Megan's fun. It is. But again, the issue is I saw the trailer in the movie theater. I didn't watch it online. I'll watch one trailer. If I see one trailer and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to see that. And then I don't want to see any more about it. So I saw the Megan trailer when I saw Amsterdam, maybe. I mean, it's been a while. This fucking trailer's been out it was out for 4 months before the movie came out. And maybe it might have even been with Smile, for fuck's sake, when I saw it. But I saw the Megan trailer and the theater loved it. Like it was one of those things where you knew it was going to be a big deal because the theater went crazy for the trailer. Like they laughed and stuff with it. But in the trailer I saw, she does the dance, the crazy dance that became the viral thing on TikTok and actually had flash mobs of dancers. And then I don't know if they were hired actors who went in and danced in the theaters before the premiere, which whatever the fuck, good for them. Hold on, my throat made another noise. I apologize. But also I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen it, but there's a couple of decent scares in it. One of them's in the trailer. And you're like, oh man, if I didn't see that, if I saw it in the movie instead of the trailer, I would have gone fucking crazy because it's a really neat thing that they did. And I don't want to give it away. But it's fun. But if I hadn't seen it in the trailer, it would have been like, yeah, dude, that's great. But they just, they fucking, and also here's the thing. If your trailer is a whiz bang fucking success and it's fucking amazing, that's great. But just make sure you're only giving us, don't give us every great thing in the movie for fuck's sake. And I will say overall, the performance of whoever the fuck was Megan, because it can't be a little kid. It must be trickery that they used, unless it's a little person that they wound up using it, making as Megan. But she was lithe and you believed it, but also believed it was still a robot or a doll or whatever the fuck. It was great. I mean, her performance was fucking great. And then Allison Williams, this is actually kind of funny. Allison Williams is to take in her niece, and she's the worst parent of all time. And she should be, because she, in watching it, I'm like, I kept laughing because she was just so fucking desensitized and wanted nothing to do with this kid. But it's real because her whole life was her job. Her whole life was her work. And clearly she had made a decision that she wasn't ever going to have kids and she didn't fucking care. I mean, there's even a nice throwaway line in the beginning where she gives her, the kid has a toy and the kid's mom says, well, she works there. Why the fuck, she probably didn't pay a fucking dime for it. And it's probably true, because she's a woman who's at her job all the fucking time. She doesn't want to go out and get some other bullshit. So she just sent her a free fucking toy from her fucking work. Because she doesn't care about kids, clearly. So then when she takes the kid in, I saw some people complaining because they're saying, oh my God, she's just a terrible mom. And I'm like, yes, she didn't want to be a fucking mom. She worked in a lab and she was building shit. She's a fucking huge success. She doesn't want to have to take some kid, and now it uprooted her entire fucking life. There's a scene where she's on the cell phone and she's just like, I don't know if I could do this. Like, and the poor girl's eating cream of wheat in the next room going, what the fuck? I'm so unwanted here. And the woman's, and you are. I mean, clearly you were. Nobody expected that shit to happen. So I liked Allison Williams' portrayal. And it was funny because at the first she looks like the Smile chick, and the Smile chick is somebody's daughter, somebody famous. But Allison Williams is also a famous daughter who got her ass eaten on fucking Girls on HBO. And I had never watched, I never watched 1 second of that show except for the 15 seconds of her getting her ass eaten. And I probably watched that clip 100 times. Mainly because I was being held kidnapped for ransom, and they kept showing it to me, trying to scare me. It was like Clockwork Orange. They pried my eyes open. And I said, I don't want to see Allison Williams get her ass eaten over a sink. And they said, yes, you do. And they forced me to watch it. God damn it. I will tell you this, and I'm going to give you a spoiler alert, but I'm going to tell you this about Megan. Allison Williams does not get her ass eaten in this movie. It's because you're expecting it, clearly, because that is her calling card at this point, but it does not happen, which I got to be honest with you, because that opens up a whole other fucking thing of this movie, like this Megan doll. Because I was in Japan, all right, and I told you I saw children sex dolls. You know what I mean? Essentially, these tiny little, and they're not billed as children sex dolls, but they're like, hey, what if you had this doll of your own to take care of, whose mouth works? You know what I mean? You're like, oh, Jesus Christ. And hey, if you get tired of her blonde hair, here's a head. You can detach the blonde hair one and put on a fucking brunette one. Wouldn't that be fucking great? So it's clearly, in my opinion, and it was in a sex shop. So I mean, you know what the fucking thing's designed for. And in Megan, that's kind of, you're not thinking about it the whole time, but you do catch yourself thinking, like, because the whole thing is it's a doll for kids that imprints on the kid when they get it, and in your brain you're just thinking, yeah, I got to be honest with you, there's a whole other audience out there for this fucking doll. I know you think you're doing a good thing and the kid's going to bond with it, but I get the same fucking creepy feeling about the milkman who's going to buy one and take it home. That's right. He drove all the way from 1940 to buy this doll and bring it to his house. But go see Megan. It's fun. See it in a theater because people go crazy for it. It's really neat. But at the same time, it didn't change the world of horror, and it didn't make everything. It's a fun movie. Go check it out. Look at that. That's my debut TikTok, me reviewing Megan. I have another channel called twitch.tv. As I was just mentioning, I don't review movies on there, but twitch.tv/the40-year-old boy. Perhaps I should. Maybe that's what I should do. I should put on glasses and a sweater and a tie like Ebert and get a skinny bald guy to sit with me on my Twitch stream, and I'll harangue him with my opinions. Twitch.tv/the40-year-old boy. We're getting into the home stretch of God of War Ragnarok. In that, we've just started Ragnarok. So that's the war to end all wars, and we're heading into that. And also we're leveled up now in a way where we don't like lose fights to fucking every guy we meet. And in fact, we kind of fuck everybody up, and our weapons are tricked out, and our armor, we're pretty powerful, and it's fun. We haven't been able to handle the berserkers yet, but eventually we will. But right now, the war is about to start, Ragnarok. So if you want to tune in, I'm streaming usually at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Los Angeles time. But you can join my Discord as well. Did I ever post my Discord? I don't know if I did. Nobody wants to join that. But perhaps you do, and then you'll always know when I'm on, because I do update the Discord and tell people what time I'm going to be on. Or, because my life is no longer my own, sometimes I get booked for something at the last minute. I have to run out and drive somebody to the airport or do something, and then it turns out that I'm not there. Don't bother trying to find me. I'm not there. But if you follow the channel, then you'll always know when I'm there, because you get a little notification on your phone. You can follow and subscribe. Subscribe. That actually is the same deal as sending me some cash, or you can just use your Amazon Prime and subscribe, and then Jeff Bezos has to send me $5. Teach him a fucking lesson. Or you can just follow, and that's free. And then you just get notifications when I'm on, and it's totally cool. I'd appreciate it if you did that. All of that is available at twitch.tv/the40-year-old boy. Check it out, won't you? I know I will. I probably won't. I got to be honest with you. I will not watch my own Twitch channel. What the fuck am I going to do? But there's so many clips of me being funny. I should share those somewhere. Wouldn't those be great? You know, me with sharing things. Look, I'll happily share my lunch with you. My God, I'll have to share it with 5 people at the lunch that I bought a month ago or whatever the fuck. All right. So there you go. Misfit Toys Co-op, Cameo, Patreon, PayPal, via MikeSchmidtComedy.com. The Paranoid Strain people are fantastic. Dana and Fearful Jesuit. The people over there at the Phlegmcat, Derek and David, they're also doing a fantastic job. Twitch.tv/the40year-old boy, YouTube.com/the40year-old-boy. Go check all of them out. There's your plugs. And hey guys, that's my segment of the show. You guys ready for your headliner? All right, it's me and Lily, and you'll get an update on jobs and interviews and life and what I'm doing and where I'm going and where I'm headed and how many nooses I've constructed out of measuring tape. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Oh wait, no, we won't see you next week. We'll see you in a minute. Yeah, don't leave. There's a whole other show after this, for fuck's sake. Ridiculousness. All right, I'm going to go listen to people fuck. See ya.
Hi, everybody. This is Todd Glass. What could I say that would make you want to give the Todd Glass Show a listen? Well, I guess you could poke around on YouTube, and if some of the stuff over there makes you laugh or my Netflix special act happy, then maybe you'll give it a listen. The only other thing I could do is make it short because it's interrupting a podcast you already love. Okay, I'm done. Thank you. Goodbye.
Hi there, I'm Jimmy Pardo, host of the award-winning podcast Never Not Funny. It's a show that's been described as hanging out with friends you never knew you needed. Well, each week I get together with my co-host Matt Belknap and great people from the worlds of comedy, Broadway, music, TV, movies. You get the point. Hey, Matt, give me some examples of who we've had on.
Oh my God, Jimmy, we've had comedy legends like Conan O'Brien, Amy Poehler, and Sarah Silverman, Hollywood royalty like Rob Reiner and John Hamm, and members of classic rock bands like Styx and Kiss.
Hey, Never Not Funny's been around since 2006, so we must be doing something right. So why not join our nonsense each week? Never Not Funny.
The fastest hour in podcasting.
Danielle, guess what people are saying about How to Survive with Danielle and Christine?
What are they saying, Christine?
Very funny, charming, and just the right amount of stupid. This podcast might also save your life.
That's a perfect description because on How to Survive with Danielle and Christine, we teach you how to survive the things that could kill you and the stuff that makes you just wish you were dead.
Totally accurate. So, tune in to
How to Survive with Danielle and Christine.
And as always,
remain calm.
Sounds like a burner
No,
problem.
it's not.
Sounds like a burner
Let's not
issue.
use this. Let's not use this part.
Sounds
We'll
like
edit
somebody
this part
here
out.
has a burner account. Well, I didn't say it was you.
Hey, what's happening, Mike Schmidt, for your
What
boy
the?
podcast?
How dare you? No, I said somebody has a burner. I did not
I
specifically
don't
say.
have a burner account, though.
Will
I
you
don't.
listen to words that are coming out of my mouth, Chris Tucker style? I never said it was you, did I? I never said. I said somebody here has a burner. I didn't say it was Lily Von Stupp, did I?
I don't know who does.
Oh, well, there's only 2 of us here, kiddo.
Do you have a burner account?
I don't want to talk about it.
What?
How dare you? Why? What would you possibly?
What?
How dare? I can't believe you'd even bring this up. It was just funny to watch you get all squiggly there when I said you got a burner account. You're like, gee.
Well, I don't. No, I don't. I have a second account on Facebook because I know my account is eventually going to get killed because I've been nude too many times on there, according to them, even though I've never been nude.
Well, I knew you had a second account because
Yeah.
I was friended by Shelley Von Lupp, which I was like, all right, this is not.
That is
Shelley Von Lupp is not. You're not fooling anybody, quite frankly.
my backup account. You can't have boob as a word because I was going to be boob Dini. My backup account is Boo Badini, which
Oh,
I think
no.
is hilarious.
You know, I got to be honest with you. I was at Maggiano's the other night and I had the boobadini. Delicious. Oh my God, is it terrific? Got to get some garlic bread on the side. Just tuck it in there. Oh, it's so good. The boobadini. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast. It's been a while since we talked. I was here a couple of weeks ago and I did a 3-hour and 15-minute show. And oh my Lord, I turned into chewed gum afterwards. And also, I won't lie to you. My brain was, because again, this is what I should want to do and care to do. And this is what I should concentrate on. Right. But I had a plan. I had a 2023 plan that was exciting. I had a plan. I got a list. I got plans. I say this all the time. And 2023 was upon us. And I'm like, here we go. Let's go. Let's implement this. And as I mentioned in the last show, if all of you have gotten through that 3 hours and 15 minutes, I can't even rock bottom right because I was down to selling my plasma and they told me no. That was a plan. And another plan was grocery stores. That was a plan of attack. As you know, I was going to start going to Well, less a grocery store, more of an outpost, if you will, from what I understand from the title on the sign. I don't want to say what it is, but there's several outposts all over Southern California with the most Byzantine ninth circle of hell parking lots you've ever experienced in your life, to the point where it's embarrassing for me to even bring it up because I'm sure every open mic has at least one guy who does it. It used to be a real standard, although I haven't been in rooms like that these days. But boy, oh boy, the parking at those places is just, because when I'd set up my interviews, I would always, and I thought this was going to get me extra points. I thought I was a genius because I'd say, "Hey, can I park in the actual lot, or do you want me somewhere else?" And they'd go, "Oh my gosh, no, you can park in the regular lot." I'd go, "Okay." I go, because I know normally there are people out there selling those spaces because they're probably the most prime real estate in Los Angeles, and they'd laugh uproariously, "Oh, this is exactly the fellow we're not going to hire." Listen to this outrageous stuff coming out of this guy's mouth. We certainly couldn't get him on board and have him in the building. We couldn't have him brighten up our customers' day as they're buying fucking string beans. No, why would we want that? Let's have the grim visage of everyone with their head down as they come in out of the rain, and nobody's here to give them a verbal sunbeam to warm them at their fucking cockles to make sure that they're having a good time shopping in our fucking store. Let's send this guy out in his fucking petard. God damn it. That was at least it's the vibe I got. That's the vibe. Well, actually, I didn't even get that vibe. I got a vibe, dude. You know, Lily, because I've talked to you throughout this experience. The saga concludes today. I've had six different interviews at 3 different Trader Joe's with varying levels of executive. I never made it to the mountain to speak to Joe himself. However, I spoke to as many people as were there. I spoke to people in Hawaiian shirts. I spoke to people who had pens. I finally got to talk to somebody with a clipboard at one point. I mean, I spoke to people at card tables. I spoke to people in break rooms. I spoke to people standing sitting on the loading dock. I spoke to all of these people. And quite frankly, when I left, there was a trail of pants behind me because I had charmed them off everybody. Clearly, I was someone to be loved, someone to be respected. All of these things are true. You know what I was not to be? Someone to be hired, someone to be brought into the solid bosom of Joe himself and given the opportunity to earn a standard wage in one building and have 20% off groceries for a while. Nope, couldn't possibly be arranged for that. I have been banished once again to a mobile workspace. That's what I'm going to call it.
I think that you may have been onto something when you said that they found out you had a podcast. And the reason I'm going to say this is I am currently on employee hell TikTok, I guess.
Yeah.
Where anytime a video goes viral, someone is called into a corporate office and said, now we know that this didn't happen on premises, but you can't do this on premises in the future, and don't ever go viral when you're on premises, even though they weren't on premises.
Yeah.
My fear is they don't want someone that has a social media following at all to be working for them, for fear something will go wrong and you will talk about it.
Well, that was mentioned in one of the interviews.
Yeah.
With the what I felt, again, I'm just going to say this. I don't know if I talked about it on here or not. I spoke with this woman for almost an hour. She ran the store, and it was a one-on-one, me and her on a loading dock, clipboard, face-to-face in aluminum chairs. And I mentioned it on the show here where she said, what's your show about? I told her, I said, it's my life, but exaggerated for comedic purposes, but I literally talk about everything that happens in my life, and I have for 13 years.
Yeah.
And she was like, and she said, well, we'd have to make sure you signed something to make sure you didn't talk about something here. And I said, it was very nice meeting you. I appreciate you having me in for this meeting. And we both laughed. Now, if she had said explicitly, hey man, there's an NDA if you work here, I would have gone, cool. I would have signed it, because again, and I've said on the show here before where I was like, you can't tell somebody they can't do something in their comedy act. But if you sign an NDA, that's a completely different animal. You can't tell me not to do shit until you make me sign something binding.
Yeah. And I think that could really truly be most of the problem. And that sucks. But
let me tell you something. Look, I'm just going to fucking say this. You're selling fucking taffy. You're not, there's no government secrets in your fucking building. So for you to come on like a stiff prick with this, Well, you couldn't possibly comment on what happened here. What, the time the cereal fell down? Oh, no. Well, I tripped over a box of puffins and I can't fucking mention it on the goddamn air? Fine, I get it. But again, and I'll sign your piece of paper. Like, I'm Mr. Pink. Hey, man, you want to vote on something? I'll vote on it. You got a piece of paper? I'll fucking sign it. But as far as this non-talking about your fucking job bullshit I got for you, I got 2 words for you. Learn to fucking live with it, because it's not gonna fucking happen that way.
Well, it's exhausting.
It's like
the chick that got the chair thrown at her at the Waffle House.
She's a bad example because now she's worth like $200,000.
She was fired.
Yeah, fine. Into a world with open arms, calling her a chair warrior, Waffle House princess warrior, and she's got like she's like Cameo now,
But
all
again,
sorts of shit.
they just don't want anything. They don't want any PR. I think because most companies are doing so much bad shit, they just don't want it out, and it sucks.
Yeah, I think the last time I talked to you guys, I had one interview left, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I had done the whatever. I did. I talked to that woman for an hour, and then they called me. She said, by Friday, but maybe by Monday. And I said, great. I didn't hear from them. And then Monday, I was about to jump in the shower, and I heard my phone ring, and I was like, oh, because nobody fucking calls me. Who's calling me? And I was like, cool. So I jumped in the shower. I decided to take a happy shower. I'm like, all right, this is awesome. I want to be clean when I call them back.
Wait, you didn't jump to the phone?
Of course not. I'm naked. So I'm like, all right, that's bad luck. So I said to myself, all right, I'm going to get clean. I'm going to scrubby dubby. I'm going to do that. And also, you can't look like fucking total, like thirsty motherfucker who's like, yeah, what? You know what I mean? I figure, you know what? You give them a buffer. You give them, because I'll call them right when I get out of the shower. It's 15 minutes. Depending on what song ends and what song is on when the shower ends, when I'm finished.
Oh my God.
That's the truth.
I know why they didn't hire you.
No,
I can't stack that shelf. This song is playing.
No, I would always make sure I got to work on time, because I would arrange a playlist where I would be able to get out on the perfect song. As I've said, I cannot get out of the shower if it's a bad song that forecasts a bad day. If there's some song, like if Metallica fucking Fade to Black is playing, I can't get out of the shower, because that means I'm going to kill myself at some point. You're doomed to live the life of the final song on your playlist. So I have to stay in the shower until a good song plays. I've taken 18-minute showers because of this. I've stayed in the shower and made it happen. I've talked about this by year, whatever the fuck. So
I like to hear whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've decided to say at this point. So sure enough, I got out of the shower and I looked, and no voicemail. And that's when I went, oh, that's probably a bad sign. That's a bad sign. Not even to say, hey man, it's us calling. Why don't you give us a call back? Like there was no message. And so I knew at that point. So I called them back, and I got like the absolute jawed, curt response, like, right off of a piece of paper. Hi, we welcomed your interest here at the grocery store, and we enjoyed speaking with you. However, we had so many people to interview, and it turned out that we're not going to be able to go forward, and we wish you, luck in your future endeavors. Some bullshit. Like I was like, and I knew it, but at the same time, to hear it I wanted to say to her, you talked to me for an hour. So obviously there was something there, man. I mean, clearly you were interested, because I can't imagine she interviewed every employee for a fucking hour. Now look, did she maybe know in 10 minutes, this person's perfect to stack peas? Maybe she fucking did. But all I know is I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, right? You talking to me because dude, cut me loose at 20 minutes at that point. Because if you see it's not happening, or you're worried about the podcast or any of that fucking bullshit, cut me loose. Because then part of me thinks, because then we talk about, you said about me saying stuff on the air. Well, I did recount the interview and about when I said to her about it's nice meeting you, which was a joke, but maybe they didn't think it was I don't know what the fuck. I don't know. All I know is they, I in my brain, I was like, how do you, and so I said to her, I go, well, can I ask why? I thought we got along pretty well. And she said, well, no, they choose not to tell you. There's no law.
No, they can't tell you. They can't tell you, because the moment they tell you, you could sue them for not hiring you because you're big. They could sue you for not hiring you because you're, again, we can take a million things, but the moment we tell you why we don't hire you, that's when you can sue us, because it could be something other than there was a better fit is the answer, because it is. But honestly, I think had you answered the phone call, you might have that job.
Think so, huh? That's what it was. That was the whole difference of it. Well, foolish me. I like I said, when I interviewed with that interview, I had a second interview at another location already scheduled. And when I asked her, I go, hey, do I go through with this other interview? And she's just like, why? Yes, of course. We can't offer you in a position right now. If they offer you a position, take it. And I'm like, all right. Which also I guess should have been a hint, maybe. But then I went and interviewed with those two dudes. And they were nice guys. Again, that place is like 12 miles from my house, though. So it would have been a 25-mile round trip every day. And I would have been like, but I don't, whatever the fuck. I needed a gig. The whole point was, look, again, I just wanted to work in one spot.
Yeah.
And get, like I said, it's not union, whatever the fuck, but there were raises every 6 months. And truth be told, again, as we all know, I'm not sitting here going, finally I can work at a grocery store. I mean, nobody in their life does that shit, I don't think. And so I'm not wiped out, but I am pretty fucking, cause I'll say this, I know people who were hired almost immediately. I know people personally who were hired almost immediately and at rates higher than they were talking about hiring me for, where you're just like, all right. And then this is the thing, is it brings in the creeping bullshit of like, what did I do? And when you mentioned the thing about the podcast, like, cause again, I talked to her for over an hour and then in my brain, I'm like, all right, I have to admit, it makes me laugh thinking that she actually went and found the show and listened to it and then went, oh yeah, no, this isn't the guy. Which
I don't even know that she went and found it. I don't. I think she just has to be concerned.
Whatever. I guess. I don't know. I don't believe that you have to be concerned because again, I'm an adult. All right. I'm if you talk to me about something and you say, hey dude, we don't do this.
But you've got a 2-hour rapport with this person. You don't have a lifetime of, because again, I've had to hire and fire people when I was working at Shin. And it's very much as I look around who's working here right now, what do we need to fill this in? And sometimes it's like that person is too perky. That person will disrupt the flow of what's happening in the shop. And that can be a problem. Not because you're too perky and that's a terrible thing, but because everything is status quo. And if you bring in something that's going to rock the ship, somebody's going to start talking too much and not getting their work done. And it's not even going to be you that does it. And you have to balance all of those things. And it's stupid and it's terrible and it's horrible that you have an ecosystem of personalities to get food out or to get peas on a shelf or to get, and it is not easy to go, is this the right person or not the right person? And you often make mistakes.
I'm personable. I'm kind. I'm friendly.
I agree.
And I'll follow because that's, I even said to them, I said, look, because they would say, when do you record your podcast? Is that going to interfere with anything? I go, no. I said, listen to me. My schedule is yours.
Yeah.
I go, if you tell me to come in at 2 a.m, I'm here. If you tell me to go home at midnight, I'll go home at midnight. I go, I wouldn't be in this room talking to you guys if I wasn't serious about coming somewhere and following your rules and working this job. I go, this is not a lark. I go, I'm not, I said, because and they were, everybody seemed to understand it, whatever the fuck. It's just, you get, I'm choosing to spin this in a way of like, well, look, dude, you didn't want to fucking do that anyway. You know what I mean? I was doing it as a sacrifice to finally go, you know what? Fuck this. It's time. You need to do this because again, look, man, I won't lie. Things are really crazy over here, like financially and otherwise. Cause again, I have been looking for a gig now since September.
Yeah.
August when I almost got the bouncing gig and I was going to do that. I was going to bounce there. And then there was a security thing at a hospital. I went and talked to them and that looked like it might happen. And I didn't really want to work security, but then when my friend wound up working, he's like, you should try this. And so I tried that. And it was, honestly, this is their fucking fault. I'm going to be honest with you because they do this thing where they're like, you apply online and it's like, all right, well, you'll hear from us in 2 to 3 weeks. And so you sit and you wait. But I mean, I waited on the first one. I told this fucking story and then they wrote me a note. They go, we're not even going to interview you. And I'm like, what the fuck? So then I applied to like 5 more.
But you have to remember, you should be applying at 500 places because you're not going to get an interview at all of them.
But every time I got called by these fucking places, they're talking about how unbelievably, like the one location was like, yeah, man, we really need people. Like you might hear from us tonight because we have a lot of people that are even when I did the job fair thing in Santa Monica, we could be hiring people on the spot and you might be working the next day. And I says, great. And then I went to, I made it to card table 2 down there. I didn't even make it to the fucking bonus round or whatever the fuck and got out. I listen.
But there's also a 1,000 reasons why they are ill prepared to hire people too. And again, we still have the PPP loans that we're still looking to hire people where we can't get enough staff. We can't pay you back.
Yes.
Because we can't, so there's a million reasons why they're also wasting people's time on top of it.
Yes. I again, when I met the woman in Santa Monica, she's been like, I've applied at 3 different ones and she was really lovely. I mean, I really liked talking to her and I was like, you seem great. And she's like, yeah, right.
And meanwhile,
and so I guess that should have been a harbinger.
We went to Walmart and literally there are more self-checkouts than there are aisles at Walmart. I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, oh shit. They're again, nobody wants to work, but we're replacing those jobs that don't pay too well because we don't want to pay more. The economy we are in an ecosystem of not symbiotic relationship right now.
Well, whenever I go to a grocery store and they pull that shit with because there's, I always use the self-checkout. You know why? Because I only have like 6 things.
Yeah.
If I get a cart full of stuff, I'm going to visit a person. Then that's fine. They can handle it and bag it up and all that stuff. But also, those are union jobs.
Yep.
Grocery and bagger, those are all union. And so when you go into your grocery store and you see 4 checkers, you realize it's because they are parsing out the hours. Like this, Trader Joe's, they said, look, there's the most we give anybody is 37 hours a week or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay. But they still take care. They still have an insurance plan. And you got to work this certain thing, whatever the fuck. But still, they don't give you 40 because 40 is the titular number where everything is, everything green lights, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And that's how it is when you go to these Ralph's stores. Like I will tell you this, I went into Ralph's, 2 week and a half ago, and I walked in and there was like just a bunch of people like milling around, which was fucking weird. So I went over and I got my stuff. I was only getting 4 things. I grabbed them all, put them in my carry bag, and I go to the front. And the people are still milling around. There's no checkers. There's none. This is at like 8:30 at night. There's no checkers, and so everybody has to do self-checkout. Yeah. And a manager comes over and he's just like, I heard him. I don't care because again, there's no point in getting mad at that because it's not like if you stamp your foot, they're going to make a checker out of fucking pork chops and put them behind the thing. You know what I mean? It's like wouldn't that be great? Yeah. I picture like when Homer Simpson made a thing out of him in a bucket and a mop with a recording of "He works hard for the money." Remember that? Yep. To stand in at his fucking job. But one of them behind the counter. But it was there. So then the manager was explaining to somebody that there were only 2 checkers that night because one had called in sick, one had not shown up, and they have to give breaks. And the way he was saying it was just almost in this rueful way that we have to give people breaks. And I'm like, yeah, you got to give fucking breaks, dude. It's how the job works. And also it's a union thing, but he kind of like was pivoting that way. And then the person that was talking to him was like, breaks. But you can see that there's so many people out here. Why don't you give them, you should break their break up in like 10 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. Where do you work? Let me come to your work and demand that you break your lunch up into fucking 10-minute increments, you fuck. It's so, because again, everybody's empathetic or sympathetic in their homes. Maybe not, but the people who are, but then they get involved in a jackpot. And then they're just like, what the fuck is going on, man? And then they're furious. But my favorite thing about it was that people would rather mill around and look at one another and huff and puff and snort and shrug their shoulders and talk to the manager than get in the fucking self-checkout line and check their shit out and get the fuck out the door.
But I don't want to work at a grocery store. I also am disabled, and so it infuriates me when I don't have someone to help me. But I'm going to ask you the most important question there. Did you ask for a job application before you left?
Fuck no. Who wants to work at Ralph's? Jesus Christ. And let's put it this way.
They literally need a checker.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, no, they don't need a checker. One was sick, one didn't show up, and there's 2 on break.
But if one didn't show up and one is out sick, they need a checker.
I'm not buying the manager's side of this. I'm sure something was going on. There was some COVID or something.
They're understaffed. That's right. What's going on is they're understaffed. And,
yes, but they're not going to hire me as a checker.
I think
they're going to hire me. No, that would be great.
They should have right there. You know what you should have done too? I'd like an application. Watch this. Ding, 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 ding. Ching,
Yeah.
ching. I
I
know
can
how to
push
do
buttons.
transactions.
Done.
I would
Look
like a
at me.
job here.
Just check myself out, and I bag my groceries, but I didn't do that well. Don't even think about hiring me as a fucking bagger, because that would be the death of me if I literally went back to the first job I ever had, and now I had to get that now. And also because, again, as I've said on the show many times before, baggers are they've realized that baggers are just putting stuff in a bag and they're not important. So it's like I told you there was a guy with a hook for a hand who was a bagger.
It infuriates me when they bag my groceries.
There was a guy with a hook for a hand as a bagger at my fucking Ralph's. A hook. He had a hook for a hand. I know what you did last summer was bagging my groceries, this fucking guy. And I got to deal with that. Because again, and unfortunately they'll have like autistic people. I've talked about on the show.
Did he bag them well?
I didn't buy any melons, so it didn't turn out to be that big of a problem.
The reason that I ask that is where I go, there are 3 people that are baggers, and every time they see me come in, they run because I've had to say to them, you don't put Comet next to cheese.
Yeah, but you're never going to win that fight because that's something they should have been told when they got the job.
And that's why they run. Eddie bags my groceries with me.
They don't think enough of these baggers. Then the baggers look. It's.
I would love you to bag my groceries because
it's the truth anywhere. Yes, I know how to do. I've done it. I did it as a kid. I do it. It's. You know what I was doing in my house the other day? Dishes. I was washing my dishes. Just and it's never too much. It's always a couple of bowls and a cup or whatever. Because I don't let them stack up. I'm not a monster. And then in my brain, I was just like, because I used to do it in a restaurant too, where I would have to do it with the power washer and all that kind of shit at the pizza joint, and it just dawned on me, I'm just like, there are people who have no idea how to do dishes. There are people who know, like one of the first times I ever moved out, and one of the first people I ever lived with didn't know how to do their laundry. And I had to tell them how to do it because I grew up in a house of, my mom's at work. So we did all the laundry. We started cooking chicken. We did the dishes. We had chores. We had to vacuum and fucking dust. We had all that shit we had to do. And then you meet people who are they have no fucking idea. Like and I truly believe that's why they invented those pods. Because everybody's stupid and doesn't know how to put how much fucking, it all turns into the Brady Bunch and everybody's drowning in suds and like, what happened, duh? Well, now they've got it in a neat little bite-sized container and they can put that in there and nobody fucks it up. It's people don't learn shit. And again, I have never been more grandpa than I am right now at this fucking point. But again, with the bagging, like you just said, you go to, all right, dude, I went to the AT&T store yesterday. All right. I was there just yesterday. My battery is fucking dying. I've talked about it. And now it's really bad. Like I have to put it on low battery mode when it charges to get to 80%. And then it turns itself off.
You just keep a battery pack with you attached to your phone at all times?
No, I keep it on. I keep it turned all the way down, the screen.
Yeah. Cause I keep a battery pack and when that was happening, I would just keep my phone connected to the battery pack so it was charging with me at all times.
When I go to friends,
by the end of the day, my external would be dead.
Yeah, if I go to a friend's house now, I actually bring a charger, like with the little block that I plug.
What's it going to cost you to get your thing?
Well, I wouldn't know because I went to AT&T store yesterday. And I have a friend of the show, Ken, lives in Canada. Great guy. I stay with him when I go up there. And last time I was there, my battery was fucking up, and it was just starting to because it was like. I hadn't updated the iOS, so I wondered if that was what was fucking with the battery, because that'll happen sometimes when you're not upgrading the battery, whatever the fuck. So then even though I updated it, it started to kind of monkey around a little bit. And I have an iPhone 10X for anybody's reference point. And, because what I do, truthfully, I don't scoop up the newest thing that comes out because the only thing they're improving is the camera. That's it. And I'm not an influencer yet. So I'm not exactly out there taking a bunch of fucking photos and shit like that. Yeah, exactly. Selfies and snaps. So I'll take photos and things, but I've never found them. I've never looked at them and gone, oh, this would be better with a new camera, whatever the fuck. So I had an iPhone 5 and I had it fucking forever. And then the 10s came out. And when the 10s came out, I was like, all right, man, it's been 5 years, and it was bigger. It was a bigger phone. So I had to buy a new case, the whole fucking project. And I'm like, all right, well, I can do that. I don't know if I like the bigger phone. In a day, I loved the bigger phone. I was like, this is so much better than the 5. I loved it. So I had the 10X and I've had it since then. Well, now we're up to the 14 they're on. Okay. So I'm due.
What I have, yeah.
In a year, I'm probably due. But the battery is racing me and going, you're not going to be able to wait, buddy. So when I was in Canada, I told Ken, and Ken gave me a phone that I don't know what it is, but it's the bigger one. It's whatever you have, like a bigger one. So it might be a 13. Could be a 14. It's taller than my 10. And it was a work phone for him. And he's like, look, they bricked it, so I can't use it. you can take it and make it your phone. He goes, whatever you got to do that. He goes, or you could probably even harvest the battery out of it and put it in yours and whatever. But here, you can have it. And I was like, that's amazing. Thank you. So that was in July, I think, was when I was in Canada.
Yeah.
So here we are now in January. And I was like, hey, that sounds like a good idea because my phone
it's an
is
iPhone,
now,
right?
Yes, it is. As I said, I think it's a 13, but the thing is, there's no SIM card in it, so I can't even look at what it is. It won't even give me the
were you
settings.
going to put your SIM card into that phone?
That I don't know. That's my point. I was like, because he was saying, just make this your phone, or you can probably take the battery out of it and put it in your phone, which is fine. But my point is, it's been on my desk for 6 months.
What happened at the AT&T store?
Shut the fuck up. I'm getting there. God damn it. I'm telling a story in levels. God damn it. You're muted. You're so muted and we can't hear what you're saying. I'm sure you're saying something crazy. No, I'm getting to the AT&T store. My point is, I waited until now the battery, my phone flips like an old television set with rabbit ears. You know what I mean? Like when you touch it, the screen blinks and shit. And I'm like, boy, I better fix this. My point is, I've had this for 6 months. I could have done it right when I got back from fucking Canada, but it's another bullshit thing that I put to the side and went, well, I'll take care of that whenever. And now that I fucking desperately need it, I'm like, boy, I better go to the AT&T store. Okay. So now yesterday I went to the AT&T store after 6 months of having this thing where I could have done it. But now my point is, it's a metaphor for my life. I don't do anything until I have to fucking do it. I could have gone right when I got home and done something with this. I didn't. I let it sit on my desk. And yes, I had to charge it yesterday to bring it in there. So I charged my phone. I was ready to go. And I went in and I walked in. I go, hey, look, man, I'm an AT&T customer. All I want to do is put my SIM card in this phone or the battery. I got to figure out what to do to make this phone my phone from this phone. And the guy's like, all right, sir, if you have a seat, we'll help you very soon. So I go and sit down. Because I don't know if you know this, my AT&T store is located in Armenia. And by the way, when I walked in, it sounded like an after hours club. Like there's people being helped, but also they are playing the music that they fucking love. And it is like, and it's fucking got that Skrillex. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is going, because it was loud. And I was like, this is really weird. And every dude there was Armenian. They just were. All the guys who were going to help you. And it's the stereotype. You go in any stereo store, you go in any one of these fucking joints, and that's who you wind up talking to. So I'm waiting at the table. And this will tell you that I walked in there with my battery was at 93% when I walked in the door. And I sat down and I scrolled waiting for them to get me. By the time they came to help me, it was at 61%. So I had lost 32% of my battery in 15 minutes sitting at the table, scrolling through social media. That's where we're at. So the guy goes, okay, what can I help you with? And I don't want to say his name because you might go there and see Andre, but Andre's there helping me. And he's like, what can I help you with? And I go, well, I just want to turn this phone into this phone. He's like, all right, well, that is fine. Is there a SIM card? And I said, well, there's a SIM card in my phone, but none in this phone. And he goes, okay. And he pushes the thing and he goes, what is the code? The passcode for the new phone. I don't know what the fucking passcode for the, all I know is Ken gave it to me and said, here you go, you can use this. I didn't realize, because he told me it was bricked. I didn't know you still needed a passcode to get into the phone. So now I look stupid and I've waited to the last fucking minute. Now I'm at the table with the guy and I go, fuck. I go, dude, I don't know. My friend's in Cuba. Hold on. So I have to go to WhatsApp on my phone. And then when I take it, I realize this guy's taken the SIM card out of it already. I go, no, you got to put the SIM card back in my phone so I can get this guy on WhatsApp. So now it's fucking who's on first. He takes the SIM card, puts it back in my phone. And he's just, the worst part is he's literally just standing there looking at me. And I go on WhatsApp and I type a note to Ken. And I'm like, dude, what is the passcode for this new phone you gave me? I said, I probably should have asked before I came to the store, but I'm sitting here and I'm the smartest man alive, clearly. I go, I know you're in Cuba. I apologize. And unbelievably, he saw it. I don't know how he saw it. And he just wrote me back and he goes, oh yeah, and he gives me 4 digits. And I go to put it and I go, dude, it's 6 digits. I'm like, it's just like, what phone do you think you gave me from the 2000s? So thankfully he gave me the right code.
Okay.
And I punched it up and I go, all right, Andre, here you go. And it opens up and he goes, and then he takes my SIM card out and he puts it back into that phone. He presses the button and it comes up and it says for customer, and it has Ken's email address. It says open as Ken or open as someone else. And so I went, all right. So I pressed open as someone else and it just started spinning and spinning. And the guy goes, yeah, I cannot help you because we cannot access phone. I go, wait, doesn't my SIM card just turn this into my phone? And he says, no, you must be able to sign in. And I go, all right, well, I just tried to sign in. He goes, well, I don't know what that program is. You need a new phone. And I said, well, I have a new phone right here. It's fine. And he goes, no, you must get new phone. Clearly you need new phone. And so I texted Ken. I go, they're telling me I need a new phone. I go, they're all scratching their heads like chimps because they have no idea what the fuck is going on right now. And Ken's like, I don't know what to tell you. He goes, they can bypass that. He goes, there's probably some tech guy who can just go ahead. And I go, well, they're telling me there's not, and that I need a new phone. He goes, that's bullshit. Go to a smaller like store. There's got to be some guy. Yeah. So now I'm in the cast of Sneakers. You know what I mean? Now I got to call Redford and I got to exhume the fucking corpse of River Phoenix to break into this phone to make it my own. So I'm like, is that true? And I look at Andre. He goes, no, you need a new phone. And he calls his friend over, and Dimitri comes over, and Dimitri's like, oh yes, new phone. And I go, well, I think I have a deal actually, because I'm a customer, AT&T. It should probably be linked to my account that I'm due a new phone, and you guys owe it to me. And he goes, oh no, you must buy a new phone. And I go, you can punch me up. Here's because also, I forgot to tell you this. When I sat down with Andre, he goes, all right, you're a customer. And I said, yeah. And he goes, what's your name? What's your phone number? He didn't even ask my name. And I put my phone number, and it popped up. And he goes, I need your ID. And I was like, all right. And I opened my wallet, and he goes, no, I need you to take it out. And I go, all right. And I handed it to him, and he fucking scanned the back of my driver's license because I have the real ID.
Mm-hmm.
And he scanned that to pull up my information. And I go, why are you doing that? And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, I gave you my phone number. My account popped up. I saw it. He goes, no, it's a step we need to do. We need to see ID. And I go, why? And he goes, it's just what they do now. Like, there was no explanation. And I handed him my fucking license. But like, in my brain, I went, why the fuck do it's the AT&T store. It's not even like my personalized guy. You know what I mean? It's the AT&T fucking store. You're right next to a Subway. Do I have to get them my driver's license to get a fucking cold cut sandwich? No, you don't need but I gave it to him stupidly. I just handed it to him. I guess I didn't think he would scan it. And then he scanned it, and some more shit popped up. And then in my brain, I was like, is this some sort of safeguard in case I'm trafficking in fucking stolen phones? Like, what the fuck could it possibly be? I don't know. I couldn't figure, but I gave it to him, and he scanned me. But then I said, okay, well, you scanned my ID and you got my phone number. You see, I'm a customer. He goes, well, we can't look. You must buy a new phone. Like, so if you want to buy a new phone, we have a deal. And I go, no, I'm due a phone. I've been an AT&T fucking subscriber for fucking 12 years, 15 years. And they tried to get me to buy a new phone. I go, I'll be back. I just walked out. Like, I was like so mad because I didn't want to start screaming at anybody. What are you going to say?
I am in shock at the way you were treated there, and you should complain to AT&T. Did you come home and pull up your AT&T account and see if that you're eligible and what you're eligible for? Because you can order it online. You don't even have to go to a store. I can't remember the last time I went to a store.
Truthfully, I knew walking in the door what I was eligible for.
Okay.
Because with the battery problems, I've had to be up to date on what I'm eligible for.
Yeah.
And I can get a 14, but it's not free. It's like
there's
40.
Nothing free. You're not eligible for any further upgrade to a 12 even.
Maybe it changed. I don't know, but the 14, it was an extra $40 a month on my bill.
Because I think you can probably get something for $5 a month more.
Well, I'll check, but I knew I was eligible for a phone. But they wouldn't even look at it. The dude wouldn't even look. He's just like, no, you must buy a new phone. You must buy, we have these over here. We have, and I'm just like, dude, I'm not buying a new phone. I was like, I have a new phone right here. Because this is a brand new fucking phone. And, they would have. And so, but my favorite part is then I get outside and Ken's just like, yeah, man, go find some guy to just crack it and he'll go ahead and be able to bypass it. And I was like, I all of a sudden now I'm getting the knock list from Mission Impossible. I get a hand from the ceiling and shit like that. Fuck that. Just fucking, I just want a phone that works. That's it. It's all I want. I don't want, and I hate feeling like that dude who's just like, I just wanted one thing.
Yeah.
And look, did I wait to the final fucking minute? Yes, I did. Did I? So now, but that was the worst. So now I still got this fucking phone. I don't fucking know. So then, me, I'm fucking lazy. And in my brain, I'm like, I should just order the fucking new phone from the website. Who cares? Just get the new phone and don't even worry
Yeah.
about it. But then,
I'm sorry. I've got a dog visiting right now and it's barking and I'm trying to think, does it need to go out or does it? Let me just text my roommate real quick.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I saw you taking off your earbuds.
Yeah,
there
because
and
I'm like,
listening
is that the
straight
dog
in.
whining or is that a video game? I can't tell. It's weird to have 2 dogs in the house right now for a couple days. It's
All right, well,
overwhelming.
I was going to bring this up and
Yeah.
do your thing, do whatever you got to do.
No. I just texted Rob and I said, hey, can you just open the door, check on them? Because they're in my bedroom right now. But I
Yeah.
think they're whining. So he'll probably just let them out and they'll be fine.
Well,
He'll text me back if it's more.
Truthfully, so I was going to ask you about this because again, I don't see Lily very often. We talk once a week and then we'll text back and forth, but I don't go to her house and stuff, and it's not like I'm hanging out over there. And I saw you post a picture of a fucking dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the? Because aren't you? All right, look, your whole body's a minefield. Like inevitable. You have no cartilage
Yes.
left. Your blood is the consistency of rice pudding. Like I don't know what's gone awry with your body. Is introducing other species really a good idea at this point?
Well, here's what it is. I have wanted a pet for a really long time. And when I was at Tim's at the restaurant for a magician lunch one day, he was talking about the fact that he was heading out on a cruise. And he goes, do you want to come over and take care of the dogs at all? And I'm like,
Hold on. I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry. Is this your soup? I'm just magician lunch. The concept of magician lunch. I could not enjoy it more. I just love the idea of sitting there and they bring you a covered dish and you just giving the side eye to the guy and you're like, if I open this and there's a fucking dove under here, I am going to fucking kill you. Like clearly that's what has to be done. So, look at this. They bring you, please don't order the rabbit. They will bring it in a hat. Is this your soup? I'm sorry. Magician lunch made me laugh. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's okay. So then I found out he was going to be gone a lot longer than I thought he was going to be gone. We went back and forth. And finally I said, bring the dogs over. I'll keep them for as long as I can. And if I can't, we'll take them back to your daughter and she can take care of them.
And
then.
where did he go?
He's on a cruise to the Panama Canal.
Okay.
So long story short, we've had the dogs here for a couple days. It's been nice. They're not terrible. They behave pretty well. But they need a lot of attention. And that's the biggest problem. Hey, hang on. What's up? What's up? Rob? Yeah, I can't have them in here. I'm doing a podcast. Yeah, they did. Did they go? I'm sorry. Did they go out and go
That's
potty?
okay. I don't know.
Okay. And they're just whining? Yeah. All right, just leave them here. It's fine. Just leave them here.
This is what it's come
it's
to.
okay.
This is what the show has come to.
It is what it is. I got 2 roommates and he's got to take a nap because he's got a late gig. So they're just going to sit on the ground in here with me for a while.
Who's got a late gig?
Rob. Everybody works.
He's making balloons. He's making balloons.
Boys sit. Boys sit. So they're 2 dachshunds. They're absolutely adorable. But again, they want a lot of love. They want a lot of attention. Eddie is cleaning up after them. I just have to open the door, let them in and out, and then they just climb up and snuggle with me. Unfortunately, Eddie thought it would be funny to buy a squeaky toy. Come here, boy. Come here.
How would
Come here.
how would you know if a dachshund was sitting? I've seen them. They're very low to the ground.
I'm gonna let Dale get up on me right now because you can see it in the video. Oh,
Dale the
post the
dachshund?
picture. This is
Oh
Dale.
my goodness. Oh,
Dale has a
my
brown
goodness.
nose. Chip has a black nose.
I see.
They are absolutely adorable. They are wonderful, lovely dogs. But Eddie bought them squeak toys, and it's bad. That one has a grunting pig, and the other has a squeaky chicken, and it is just all the time now.
Well, it used to be like that when you guys were fucking.
That's
so you got
very
that
true.
different bed. You got that
That's
different
very
bed,
true.
and it changed everything up. All right, so Chip and Dale, which
Yes.
again, I just enough with the twee bullshit. Just don't. I'm so over cartoons and horse shit for adults. I mean, the other day, like I'm watching
Well,
football.
no,
the
they're
other
named
day.
after the furniture.
Chip and Dale.
Chip and Dale.
Oh, good lord! No, they're not. Clearly, they aren't.
Come on, that's the worst joke from the Chippendales ever.
That was not bad.
Yes.
It
It is
they.
Chippendales. It is named after the furniture. It is a high-class chess club. I
I
don't
was
know if
watching.
you know the history of that.
Don't, not at all.
Oh, the
Um,
Chippendales, the strippers. It was named after the furniture because it was originally a chess club.
I see.
Whatever. And then they
Um,
murdered each other. So so I've had dogs around the house and it's nice. That's what it comes down to.
I was watching football the other day, and at halftime, they were like, "And now the moment you've all been waiting for. Here is the trailer for the new Mandalorian." And I'm just like, I don't know who has been waiting for that during the football game. Who in their right mind has been going, I can't wait. Now, look, did I also watch the Ant-Man trailer a couple of weeks ago and go, oh, cool, it's cool to see the Ant-Man trailer? Yes, but I wasn't. Do these people not have the internet? Do they not know that literally seconds after it's on the television, it'll be online? They can totally see it there. Who's perched in front of their television on the balls of their feet going, oh my goodness, finally, I get to see what Baby Yoda does as he flies around in a Frisbee with a guy with a helmet on or whatever.
Not Baby Yoda, it's Grugo.
He's right. Baby Yoda forever. Because you know what? That was the biggest mistake they made. Because when he was
giving
Baby
him
Yoda,
a name?
Yes, because as Baby Yoda, it was like, this is awesome. How fucking hysterical is that? Because then he was cuter. But now isn't he like 1,000 years old or some bullshit now? And it's
something like that.
Fuck all that. See, nobody wants that. I want a 2-year-old fucking Yoda running around. That's fucking cute as hell. I don't want a 1,000-year-old Grogu. That just sounds disgusting.
But it
sounds like something you got to get removed. Oh, this fucking, I got the 1,000-year-old Grogu. I better lay the fuck down. Are you going to massage this dog the whole time? It is lapping and go away.
I don't know what to do with them. Can you hang on? I'll be right back. I got to get something for them to lay on.
Can I still talk? I don't need you here, right? Okay.
Tell more story. I'll be right back. Come on,
Tell
boys.
more story. It's funny. When I started this show, I was like, it's very important that it's professional. I absolutely, the most important thing, funny clearly is at the top of the list, but most importantly, I wanted to be professional. I never wanted to sound like I was coming at you from the bottom of a well. I never wanted to sound like it was, and also again, we get into the whole release date. It had to be regular. People had to count on it. They had to make sure. And look how far the mighty have fallen, ladies and gentlemen. Look where we've gone. I'm talking to my old producer on microphone. She's now scrambling around and throwing a tennis ball to try not to be distracted by 2 dachshunds that she's babysitting from her restaurant job. As I tell you that I couldn't get in at a grocery store. What the fuck has happened? What? I couldn't be. You mentioned Sisyphus, and he pushes that boulder up the hill, and it rolls down, and he keeps rolling the boulder up the hill. I don't think I'm Sisyphus in that fable any longer. I think I'm the boulder. I think I'm the boulder who kind of gets pushed to the top, and it's like, hey, maybe I'll stay here for a while. Zoom all the way down to the fucking bottom. Sisyphus had to push the boulder up. I just get pushed up. I don't make any effort at all, as you know from everything I've ever fucking told you. So now when you realize the Sisyphusian analogies that I make regarding the show, where I'm constantly pushing the boulder up the hill and then it rolls down and I got to do it again. I think I'm the boulder in that analogy. I'm not going to argue with it. I think that's exactly who I am. So to finish up in talking about where I went and what I did, I was going to I didn't get the gig at the grocery thing. I had 6 different interviews at 3 different locations, and it looked like after, like I said, I talked to the woman for an hour and I told her I had another gig to interview for. She's like, go ahead and do it. So then I went and talked to those guys, and everything seemed fine. I related to them. And again, all of them, that was the thing that's the driving force behind my disbelief, I guess is the word that I would use. And it's not even a case of like, hey man, I'm fucking awesome. Why the fuck wouldn't you want me in there? Although clearly that there's part of that involved in it with it as well. But it's the old, I don't know what else I could have done. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. Unless I had come in, I want to meet the people who beat me out. That sort of thing. You know what I mean? Where you're just, it just leads you to open your brain to all of these fucking questions where you start going, well, what did I do? And what can I do different? And what should I do different? And look, man, I've been on my own here for quite a while. The one thing I did fail to do is when I made out the app for them, like I forgot to mention that I worked as a driver at Baby Blues. Like these chapters just go away. And look, this is probably going to indicate strongly why I didn't get the gig. I think of myself as a comedian and a podcaster and an entertainer and a broadcaster. And Baby Blues was just something I had to do to pay the rent for a while, or at least chip in or pay for plane tickets to go, whatever, see my ex, all that shit. It was a job I needed to have because again, when Karen bailed, I was on my own. I had to make it work. And then you guys stepped up. We had the Patreon, all these different things came through. And then the job absolutely supplemented what I consider to be my real job, which is this. But when you do those interviews, you can't say it like that. And truthfully, I didn't lie. You know what I mean? It was like, because I would not have gone ahead and applied at these joints if it wasn't the idea that I was going to give my time to them. Like they would be, because again, this job, this, I can do this whenever. I can record at night, I can record in the daytime, I can do whatever we need to do. So I wasn't exactly telling them a lie when I said I will arrange my schedule around whatever you guys need, whatever hours you need me, I'm available, because then I can make this work on my own. You're back?
Yeah.
Okay. How did it go?
Not well, but I don't want to talk about it.
Did anyone fetch? Did anyone do any fetching?
I don't want to talk about it.
Sounds like there was some fetching involved.
There was.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. Well, look, man, this is a record. This is the first time you've had to handle 2 wieners on air.
I hate you.
I mean, I was used to coming over after that had happened. Got it out of your system, but this is the first time it's bled over into the actual broadcast.
Oh, fuck.
Well, good for you. Well, I'm glad you got your hands full with wieners over there. I'm glad to hear it.
Ay.
Well, I'm envious. I'm jealous. I would love to have a dog running around over here. I would love to have.
I
some
can
sort
give
of
you
patch
2
or
right
something.
now.
Oh, stop that nonsense. No, because they're named Chip and Dale, which means they're insufferable. They're going to come in.
No, they're adorable.
Well, they're beautiful. We just brought up Dale the dachshund right there, and I saw him. He's a lovely dog. Yeah. Absolutely. And look, there's nothing they do is bad. I'm sorry. Dogs are inherently good, period. They can try whatever they do. It's the owner's fault. You need to get, I can get whatever the fuck, Cesar Romero, to go ahead and snap his fingers at him and go, tss, tss, tss. I don't know why the Joker's here, quite frankly, now that I think about it. Whoever the fuck that guy is, the whispering guy, whatever the fuck, tss, 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 whatever the fuck. Like that dude, he can only help a dog. But I mean, the dog is only in that place because the owner or previous owners have put it in that. No dog is born bad. No dog is born bad. They're Sherpa'd that way. My friends Justin and Mary in Phoenix, who I go stay with, have pit bulls. They have 2 pit bulls, Mookie and Funchess, and they're beautiful and so friendly. The 2 of them are they jump on you, and they're big dogs, but they're total lap dogs. They want attention. They want to play with toys, and they are, people see pit bulls and just like, and it's like, fuck you, man. That's only if people make them something. Yep. You know what I mean? Dogs are inherently good, period. I like to think anything is inherently good, period, until it gets, look, it's the age-old concept of nature or nurture or teach your dog to kill other dogs. I mean, it's clearly something we've been debating about forever. So if you nurture this dog and you humor its inherent good nature, then your dog isn't going to kill other dogs. You're totally fine.
The problem with small dogs is small bladders.
Oh, they're running around, got to go in and out, that kind of thing.
Yes. And again, I let them out before we got on, and apparently they were whining because they wanted to go out, but I didn't hear them till right now. And boy. Yeah. So one of them actually peed on my laughing garbage can. So I'm very pissed right now.
You have a laughing. See, again, like I just said, all right. Again, your house.
Shut up.
You live in Pee-wee's Playhouse. You always have. So that's the deal. It's like I talk about Chip and Dale, some guy naming his dog after fucking ridiculous cartoon guys, but you have a laughing garbage can that they just ruined with their urine.
Not laughing. Laugh in. As in Rowan and Martin laugh in. I have a vintage metal trash can, and one of them peed on my vintage metal trash can. So I had to rinse my trash can out just now and wash it out with soap and water because the urine, and now I have to go back and dry it soon so that it doesn't rust.
Well,
and
clearly
so I'm not happy right now.
I understand that. And clearly you have to let them know that was not the thing to do. So you're just,
I don't know which one did.
You have no choice. You have to sock it to them. Clearly, clearly you have to sock it to them both, I would imagine, because you can't hold one responsible.
Fuck you for making me laugh about this.
I'm the oldest man in the world. I have every old reference locked and loaded, whatever it happens. There you go. And I'll tell you what, you want to name your dachshunds? You name your dachshunds Rowan and fucking Martin. That's what you fucking do.
I will tell you, if I had 2 dogs, I would do that.
There you go.
If I had 2 dogs of my own, I would name them Rowan and Martin.
Fuck Chip and Dale. Such nonsense. How dare you?
Yeah, like
How
Rowan
dare
and Martin
you?
is so much better.
Listen to me. You don't want to go Hope and Crosby. That's ridiculous. Rowan and Martin. There you go. You don't want to go Laurel and Hardy. I just read some note. Who's the fat guy? Hardy, right?
God.
Hardy's the fat guy thing, right? Look, they're comedy geniuses to some people, and whatever the fuck, that's fine. But for me, they're the number 10. Always the number 10. And that's fine. So who's the 0 in the 10? It's Hardy, right?
I'm not doing this with you.
I'm being honest.
Stan Laurel is the tall, awkward.
He's the 1. He's the 1. And then Oliver Hardy is the 10. He's the 0, the 10. But I'm saying, so again, I'm getting to a touching anecdote. I just read a note that I believe was written by the 1 to friends of the 0 after the death of the 0. And he was like, oh, this is a terrible thing. You know, he had the cancer and I feel awful about it. And it's a shame that we've lost him. And it's a handwritten note, which is like, you know, again, the most beautiful handwriting you could ever imagine. Because this is what we used to do. Now I send texts to people because everybody's parents are dying. And I'm always like, I send a very heartfelt, meaningful text, but it's still shitty. I should be sitting down with a feather pen and being like, dearest friend, you know what I mean? I should do that because that's what the 1 did. The 0 died and the 1 sat down and he wrote a fucking note and he's like, and because here's my favorite part. He writes this long note to talk about how we lost him and, you know, his family and da-da-da. And then at the end he writes, I shan't write more because I have no heart for correspondence now, as I'm sure you can imagine. Love to all of you. This florid fucking, and it's what we used to do in this country. Goddamn it. You used to really care. You would write a note and then you'd fucking seal it with your wax and then you'd stick it in a pigeon's mouth and you'd fucking send it off into the sky. That's how you used to do it in this country. Now we got electric bullshit. Fuck electric bullshit. Bring back the birds.
Do you know I have moved to the phase of I now have stationery that says from the desk of Lily von Stupp.
See, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't everybody do that? That's the fucking way to go. That's the way to go.
So that's how I send notes out. And
we all need to wear Dickies.
For Kickstarters and that.
Yeah. We need to wear Dickies and have personalized stationery. That's the fucking way to do it. Not aprons and name tags, you fucking grocery store bastards. How dare you turn me down? How dare you? What a loss. What a terrible loss. I'm just going to say this. If your store burns down, it wasn't my fault. I wasn't there. You didn't hire me. I could have stopped it.
I wish you enjoyed cooking the way you enjoy watching cooking shows.
I mean, I enjoy, let's put it this way. I enjoy cooking with somebody. I know that's going to sound weird. Like in the times that I don't, cause I don't care about myself enough. So I'm like, who cares a fuck about him? So I don't cook for myself. That's what I'm saying. But like when I was dating people, one of the coolest things would be to cook with them in my apartment or whatever and make a meal and stuff like that. That was totally fun. I liked doing that because then you're doing for somebody and you're going, and also you're doing something. You're like, I'm good at this. I have a good recipe. I want to share it with you. And I want to see the look on your face. That's really awesome.
I think you would be. And again, you know, I have worked at Shin forever, but I think you would be the type of person that would be a sushi chef that would make people so happy.
Well, that's
because you're enthusiastic, but you're enthusiastic about what you're serving. You know it well. I could see you working the rest of your life at a restaurant, telling jokes, making people happy, and filling their hearts and their stomachs. And I know that sounds so whatever, but I wish you enjoyed that. I wish that those were things that you could find where you could take all of your talents in one and not have to work at 2 a.m. in a club with people throwing beers.
Sushi chef is tough because at that point you need to be part technician and part chef. So you've got to be Gordon Ramsay, but you've also got to be Bob Villa. You know what I mean? You've got to slice it perfectly. You've got to put it on there. Everything has to be done in a scientific way almost.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a quick story if you want one.
Of course I do. Holy Jesus.
I had an incredible Neo Burlesque party on Thursday night. Okay. We had the house full. You know, people bought tickets. They tipped. We sold drinks. It was wonderful. And then we had the Burns night dinner at the Mayflower on Sunday. And I went in on Saturday and helped prep food.
Okay.
I can tell you, I do not like cooking. I have a cooking show as a joke because I do not like cooking. I peeled 40 pounds of potatoes and another 30 pounds of parsnips or turnips or whatever the fuck they were for the taters, the tips, and the haggis.
That is not, I will tell you this, that's not cooking, that's work.
Yes. And
prep is work.
Prep is work. And that's what I did with that. And we made the mashed potatoes from scratch and we did the parsnips, which are the the appetizers. And again, it was fun to learn, but it was not fun. I hated every minute of it. I'm not going to lie. Plus I cleaned a goddamn kitchen, a commercial kitchen, because we have a commercial kitchen in the Mayflower. And the whole time I was there, I was like, I wish I could find a part of doing entertainment and throwing parties that I could do easy and still be a part of it, which is why I was like, I wish you enjoyed cooking, because I could see you doing that. I could see you behind the counter, making food, serving it, having the because I've been out with you to a sushi bar.
Yes.
And it is a wonderful experience, and it's experience that you can share with people. But man, that fucking prep and
it's brutal. I was a prep cook at a pizza place in Chicago. And it is, you come in, there's a prep list and there's everything. I had to make dough.
Well, we didn't have that, which I wish we did.
Yeah, that would make it a lot easier.
Yeah, we were kind of not by the seat of our pants. We have a lot of recipes, but it was like not a lot of we've done this to make sure it works kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, you can't.
And doing the back timing and the rushing and the pre-making and then coming in the next day. I mean, I spent 3 days at the club and I am spent,
Sure.
Plus, having to put the dishes in the giant dishwasher that holds 14 plates at a time, and you got service for 45, and you got to wash them before and after to put them. Oh my fucking Christ!
See, what a sushi bar needs to do. Here's what they need to hire me for. You want to hire me? I don't need to be a sushi chef. I need to be the norm of your sushi bar. I need, when I walk in, everybody's like, Mike, and then I sit down and I'm just a gadfly. I'm just there to make you laugh and talk and hey, you got to try that. You know what you should do? You should totally try this or whatever. Like I'm the, I guess a sushi sommelier with jokes, you know what I mean? Who's just like, oh, this is super good. And then, you get a plate and you both sit there and you're like, this is really good. This is delicious. Oh, you should try that. I've had this. Actually, this chef makes this better than this. You know what I mean? Like, just engage people. Dude, I could do that all fucking night. That would be ridiculous.
I was just thinking, we're at the Mayflower right now. We're expanding stuff. Do you want to bring back 2020?
My favorite thing
I'm like jumping all over the place right now because I'm at the Mayflower in my head now.
Okay, the Mayflower is a what?
Oh, the Mayflower is a private membership club that I belong to. It's a social club is what it essentially is.
Oh,
and we're doing all sorts of different programming there. And, I just did a burlesque show. We did a members bingo. And I'm like, we don't have a comedy show.
A social club? Are you mobbed up? When did you get mobbed up? I didn't know that was happening.
I'm the mob. That's the scary part. I'm the mob.
Good Lord. All right. Well, then I'll bring in the gabagool. Let me work in the kitchen there. That'll be fantastic. So it's a theater. Like, what is it? Is it theater?
So the Mayflower Club has a stage. We hold 250 people. We have a full bar and a full kitchen.
Jesus.
Yeah. The kitchen is not always staffed and working, and sometimes we cater in. Sometimes,
and what, you have some relationship with the owners or whatever that you can just put on.
I'm on the entertainment committee.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to be running for the board next year.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, here's the thing. I love the Magic Castle. It's far too busy for me. It's far too full for me. It's a very fancy, amazing place. Drinks start there at like $12.
Is this your venue?
But at the Mayflower Club, which is the other private club I belong to, drinks start at $4.
Okay. Well, sure.
So it's like this cool place. We have Christmas tea. We have pantos. We have all of these, we have all these amazing events happening for members, but we don't have a comedy night. Do you want me to pitch him a comedy night? I can't.
Well, let me say this real quick though. You say 2020 like anybody knows what that is. That's my favorite part. You're like, hey, you want to bring back 2020 like it was anything. So let me explain to everybody what that was. A million years ago, Lily would run the 3 clubs, and it was fantastic because she had her Monday Night Tease show there. So Monday night was her night. And then she said to me one time, hey, you want to put on some stand-up like before burlesque? We could do that. And I said, that's a really cool idea because it meant I could go up too, in addition to having other comedians. And the concept I came up with is an idea called 2020. And it was 3 comedians each doing 20-minute sets. I was one of them every week. And then they came in, and if we could get people to come in and see them, that was great. I will say this, I felt it was early. It was a 7:00 show.
Yeah.
Which is a harder sell, clearly. But also I didn't, it wasn't exactly like I was beating the bushes trying to get people in there. I was relying on names and social media. And so sometimes we get a big crowd. Like when Jimmy did it, we had a really big crowd when Pardo did it. But sometimes we did it to 10 people or whatever. But there was an enthusiastic, fun, nice audience, and they always were into it. It was never, comedians never, that was the one thing, the feedback I got. They were happy that they didn't come in cold with a bunch of people who didn't know there was going to be a show. And that happens a lot in Los Angeles. So they enjoyed the fact that the people who were there were people who listened to this podcast or were burlesque fans who got there a little early, and they wanted to see stand up and they liked it. Yeah. And I liked the room because I like a small, intimate room. 250 sounds like a barn kind of, but that's fine.
Okay, but here's how the venue is set up. On one side, we have a stage, and we have what is either an open dance floor in front of it, dinner seating in front of it for a dinner show, or we do cocktail tables. Yeah. To the right of it, there is an area that is like set up with cocktail tables for dining right next to the bar, and it leads right into where the kitchen is. So there's almost 2 rooms there. But we put cocktail tables in front of the stage. The stage is 4 feet off the ground. It's gorgeous.
Okay.
It's really, plus you can film it, so people could get film if they need it.
That's a big deal. All right. Let me tell you this. I was talking a little bit when you went off mic. And I was telling people like because I had a plan. Like I had, remember in the beginning of the show, I said I had a list. I had plans. There were things that 2023 were going to entail. And and what it was going to entail was me getting a full-time gig and being able to make money from that. But I had other plans that were going to make a full-time gig palatable. All right. As we all know, I applied to those gigs because I need to. Look, there's no, I can't pretend, I'm in a situation now where I have to go back to work, and I've been trying to avoid going into the car because of COVID, because of gas prices, things like that. I don't know what being an Uber driver entails anymore. I haven't done it in 3 years, so I don't know if that's, and I don't, I pivoted to all right, part of the 2023 plan. Again, we're going to bracket this a little bit. And please remember, we will discuss the Mayflower. Yeah. I will get there. Part of the plan was I was going to change my life in a way where I wasn't staying up until 8 o'clock in the morning and then sleeping 3 hours. And then, all that I was going to get a better schedule. So here we are on January, I think it's the 17th. I think it's Tuesday. I all month, I go to bed when I'm tired, which could be 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Which could be 1 a.m. Anytime in between. One night I went to bed at 9:30 p.m. because I could not be older in certain aspects. And that's the deal. Like I made this pact, and also sleep is incredibly important. And I've harped on this for years and yet never really pulled the trigger on it in this way. I want to get 8 hours of sleep every day. I'm old. All right. And there's a lot of other aspects of my health that I don't take care of, but not having insurance and not being able to go for checkups and things like that. I've been incredibly lucky that I didn't get COVID, the whole time. I'm boosted and vaxxed all the way to, all the way up. But doesn't mean I can't get it. You know what I mean? But with no insurance, it was important. And again, being overweight, being a fat dude, I was like, I can't get it. I can't get it. It wasn't one of the thing like, boy, that would be unpleasant. It was like, no, I'm not getting fucking ventilated. Cause also if I get a tube shoved down my throat, who knows what I'm going to sound like afterwards? You know what I mean? It was just a large picture decision. So I was like, I can't, and look, I trust medicine anyway. I'm getting the fucking vaccine the second it happens. Yeah. But I sleep is an important thing. And I've talked to my trainer has told me about it. He's like, look, you got to get 8 hours of sleep. You have to, period, especially getting older. And he's like, and I'm talking good sleep, because you can't go to bed at 7 a.m. and then get up at 2 p.m. He goes, that's not the same. You're sleeping in daylight hours. Circadian rhythms don't want you to do that. And I'm like, look, I've got 54 years of circadian rhythms that would argue with you, because I've always been this late night dude. My mom was a late night person.
He's wrong.
He's not. I've done the research and the reading on it. He's not wrong. It's best to get 7 to 8 hours, of sleep, but in full darkness is a better sleep for you. You sleep deeper when you're sleeping in darkness. Now you can black out my room and stuff like that and do that. And then it fools your body into thinking that, but then that also takes a toll when you get up, and then you're living your life differently. I've done I see you shaking your head, and that's totally fine.
Well, I'm dealing with a lot of genetic anomalies and how not everybody is that rhythm.
Right.
So,
but the standard thinking and the
yes.
recommendation, because believe me, I'm always like, what are you talking about? I'm not that. I can't possibly. But I mean, when I worked at office gigs, when I was writing on shows and working out hard in the morning, I was in bed by fucking 11 o'clock and I got up by 7 and I went to the gym and I was in the office by 10. I mean, it can be done if you're living the life the way you want to live it. So I've kind of tried to make that adjustment here. And I thought, and also having a full-time gig would add like regular life, because look, man, I've, since the pandemic started, there are no rules at my house. And we've talked about this many times before. Like there can be Christmas, there can be Thanksgiving, there can be all these holidays, but what are holidays if every day you don't do anything, if you don't have, you know what I mean? And that's, so you have to, in order for your life, those sorts of things to have any sort of import or meaning, you should be doing something to kind of earn them in a way.
Yeah.
And then when I started sloughing on this show and not doing shows for weeks, and I'm just like, now I'm like, what are you doing at all? Like now you can't even go, well, at least I put out a show this week or I was funny this week or whatever, because then you fucking weren't, you know what I mean? And it's been a real struggle for me and trying to climb my way out of this pit. So in 2023, I was like, I'll get a gig for some normality and I'll sleep 8 hours at night like a person. And so now it's been 2 solid weeks where I'm sleeping 8 hours. I'm not napping like at 7:30 p.m. and getting up at 11:30 and then staying up until fucking 9 a.m., which is what I was doing. If I get tired at 7:30 p.m., I get up, you know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, well, I'll throw some water in my face or whatever, because I don't want to sleep. I know this, and this is the baby steps of life, and I'm learning them at 55. I understand that. Please don't mock me. I'm trying to do what I can.
I'm not mocking you.
I'm
no
talking
one's
to
mocking you.
I'm talking to the larger audience in
I
general,
know.
because this can sound like a little boy learning the lessons that he should have been taught as a child. You know what I mean? Learning the things that because I mean, as a kid, I was up at 1 a.m. watching Batman on Channel 9, you know what I mean? Or whatever. And because there was no discipline or structure in my house as a kid, there was you'd get sent to bed sometimes, but then you didn't have to go to sleep, or you would be up reading in your room. My mom never, nobody tucked me in, nobody checked on me. So I did whatever the fuck I wanted. You know what I mean? And there's nothing, I'm not whining. There's no violins playing. This is just the way it was. What were you going to say? You look poised to say something.
Well, it's funny because you said these words of rewards and normal life and holidays, and all of these things are man-made and constructed. There is no normal.
I know. I guess. All right. So my pursuit of what I would perceive to be normal. How about that?
Okay. Of what you want in your life.
Or what I've not done forever and everybody else has done. And maybe that's the reason I'm not doing the things I'm supposed to do, because I don't have that balance. You know what I mean? Because look, it's very easy for me to just, and also I'm not a fucking maniac. It's not like I'm like, I stay up all night, so I'm a fucking failure. Blah, blah. It's none of that things. I'm talking about in observing regular people's everyday lives, you see them doing things differently. And I wonder if there's a way, so I'd like to adapt that, at least, that's what I felt. Having a schedule and being rigid about it to a certain extent would help, because I've never done that. I've never held myself to any sort of no barriers, no boundaries, just like whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, and having a gig would be one of those things. Like I genuinely enjoyed it. Look, I might have whined and fucking moaned about the fucking barbecue joint, but I loved going there. I liked the people I worked with. It was totally fun. And also I could eat one meal a day for free. So that saved me some money, and I made some cash, and it was a good thing. I actually enjoyed it. I liked the camaraderie of working with people. And that was something I would bring to these interviews. I'd go, look, it's just time for me to work with people again. I go, I work by myself, and that's totally fine. I go, but I really love the idea of being in a team concept and working with and for people. Now look, did I want to be a drone? No, but I wanted to fucking make people laugh and goof around and have them make me laugh and whatever the fuck, and have a social network, I guess is what I would call it. But now the plan was to get a gig and then to fix my schedule and be working out 3 times a week, and then also running 7 times a week. Cause I have, again, how many times in the show have I rebooted my health? I know, I get it. Please don't mock me. Because then everybody's gonna go, oh, just like when you did it in that year, and then this year. Like, it's funny, if you scroll the artwork for this show, there's so many art. I can see the times when I was rebooting and trying to think about how I was going to change my life, and then I never fucking did.
But I think that's ADHD.
But fine. But I can't hang that shingle on my door and go, that's why I failed constantly. So then go take the medicine. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be that guy. I can't just go, well, I have ADHD, so I'm just going to fall apart, and that'll be cool, and I should just keep falling apart. And
I don't think
you're
falling apart, but that again is my perspective at 57 of looking at how life is. I mean, I could sit here and go, I fucked everything up because my IRA is gone and my body's broken.
Yeah,
I did everything I wanted to do so far. Anything I've said I've wanted to do, I've done.
Yeah.
I think that's really successful when I look at people who are still sitting in the house they built that they're afraid they're going to lose because they have to work 60 hours a week to keep up this fancy house that they don't even want, that they are living in a marriage that they hate. And I'm just like, good for you. That's normal.
There are different measuring sticks for everybody.
Yeah. And so I am like, I look at you and I'm like, I don't know a lot of people that have managed to keep a podcast alive this long.
Yeah. And I fell off certainly the past year. You know what I mean? I carry that.
But you're back.
Like a yoke around my neck.
But you're back.
But I wasn't here last week because I did a 3 hour and 15-minute show and I was like, I'm a little winded. I'm not going to do a show this week. I'm going to hold off. But I always meant to do it, but then didn't. And that's bad. Again, if I'm resetting and rebooting, then I should be doing a show every week.
People call in sick sometimes.
I know, but I called in sick a lot. I've called in sick a lot. It doesn't matter. Regardless, I have to please myself. I wish people out there were. I want them to be happy and I want them to be excited. I want them to care about this. And in order to do that, I have to care about it. And look, and people are so sick of me saying this now. I don't want to do it. I don't want to bury them in my let's go get them bullshit. Nobody wants to fucking hear that. I totally get it. But the point is I had a plan for 2023, which was going to involve getting a gig because then that could allow me to get to the gym, lifting 3 times a week with John and then running 7 times a week, and cardio, riding my bike. I planned on getting my health in order. I have goals like for monthly goals for weight loss and all these different things. Like and then to not get the gig, it kicks out. It's like having a car up on blocks and you're underneath it repairing it. And then somebody kicks out one of the fucking blocks and then it falls down on top of you. You're like, fuck, I got to figure out how to get out of this fucking thing. So now, because here's the deal, like if I've got to get back in the car full time, that's it. There's no argument about it. I've been very lucky in that I've been able to book some individual stuff with people to give them rides to and from places. Like, I'm like tonight, I have to take a buddy to a function, and people pay, and that's great. Yeah. But I have to fucking get in the car. Now, if I get in the car full time, that's going to change the sleep thing because I have to drive late at night to get money is from before. I will try 2 weeks of driving during the day to see what it's like. And by the way, I'm not doing that yet because I didn't get approved from them and their bullshit until last week. But also I got to admit, I held off because I'm like, I wanted to do it. I don't want to do it. I just don't. I want to do it 1 or 2 times a week. If it was filling in the gaps around a full-time gig or something like that, I was like, this is going to be amazing. I'll make this money can go here and this will go here. But then for it all house of cards to fall apart and now it's going to be the full-time gig again. I'm like, all right, so then what do I do? Do I go in the car from 10 until 3, come home and be on Twitch from 4 until 7 and get back in the car from 7 until 10?
If that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do for a while.
And that's what I wrote down and that's what I planned. But also I need to see how that's going to affect gas, the gas prices. And again, germs are a big deal. So whatever the fuck, doesn't matter. None of that matters. So that was a plan. And also there was a 4-pronged solution. I was going to drive a little. I was going to gig at a grocery store. I was going to sell plasma if I fucking had to. That was like bottom of the barrel. But also I went to, and I don't think I told you this, I went to an extra service to do extra work.
Yeah.
Did I mention that to you?
Yeah.
This made me laugh. It was Central Casting is I wanted to go because again for union work you can do pretty good. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll do some of that. I mean, again, it's easy money, really. I mean, you're just standing in the background, you're doing whatever the fuck. And again, it's just that it's the selling plasma of acting jobs. Clearly, it is just you're just showing up and being told what to do. I've done it before. I told you nobody walks past a building 4 times like me. I'll tell you that. I got that down. So I applied at Central Casting, and their thing is just like Trader Joe's, where it's like it's like winning concert tickets. Like on a day, they're like, okay, you all have to sign in at 3:15, and then you go in at 3:15, and they're like, all slots are filled. Try again at 3:45, and you have to just chase it for days until you get in an open window. I had a friend who did it for a week, every 15 minutes trying to sign in for like 4 hours and then finally got in. I was very lucky. It only took me one day. It took me like 5 hours, but I was able to sign in. And then you fill out all this stuff. And then I got to the end. I filled it. You have to fill in. Here's the best part. You got to fill in like your sizes and all that shit, but then you got to fill in your talents, like fencing. I don't know who the fuck is fencing for Central Casting. Good for them. I mean, eventually somebody will need a sword fighter, I suppose. Tobogganing. Yeah. You know what? That's not a skill. That's laying down and falling down a hill. That's all it is. You just happen to have something underneath you when you do it, but you've got to, and I know people take it seriously, but so I try to do whatever, because also they have like football. Like, I don't even know to what level I can throw and catch a football. And I look decent in a football uniform. I look like a guy who should be in a football uniform. But if you're going to ask me to do the cover 2 defense against shallow screens, I mean, then we're going to have a discussion. I mean, maybe. So regardless, you have to fill out all their bullshit. And then at the end, I tried to finalize it, and it wouldn't accept my social security number. Everything else, and again, this is 15 minutes of filling out bullshit and your sizes and your neck. I gotta measure my neck in my house. You know what I mean? Anybody who looks in the window just is like, don't do it. And I'm like, no, it's for a thing. I'm wrapping a thing around my neck. I'm not dying. I promise. Don't. Things are never as dark as you think they are. No, I'm just trying to get a measurement. Shut up. So I'm measuring the neck, doing whatever the fuck. So they won't accept my social security number, but I make the appointment to go, because then you have to make an appointment to go in and see them. So I make the appointment, everything's all squared away, but it won't accept my online deal. And it keeps going back to the beginning of the app. Now I should tell you this, when I tried to sign in the first time, because it said, do not, you taking off? You got more dogs? Oh my God, Lily has left. So when I tried to sign in for this the first time, I called them up. I should have told you this first of all, because it says you cannot apply to Central Casting if you've applied before. And truthfully, when I first moved to town, I applied to a bunch of casting places. I have no idea if I applied to Central Casting, but I called them and I got a very nice, lovely operator, Luann, and she was like, all right, what's your name? And I gave her my name. I said, they're telling me not to fill this out if I've done it before, because that will disqualify me, and I don't want to be disqualified, so I need to make sure that you have all my information. And she said, yes, give me your name. And I did. I gave her my name. And I said, here are all of my email addresses that it could have possibly been, because I think I may have signed up 25 years ago, but I can't be sure. So you need, and she's like, well, let me take a look. And I said, here's my name. Here's this email address. Here's this email address. I even gave her my landline. And she was like, all right. And she goes, I don't see any record of you here in our thing. And I said, okay, that's cool. I said, so that means I can sign up. And she said, yes, please go ahead. I said, fantastic. And that's when I went through the 5 pages or whatever the fuck, and the 15, 20 minutes of sizes and figuring everything out. So, and again, dudes, this is me hoping to be a fucking lamp. This is me hoping to be a tree. I'm not even signing. This isn't anything skilled. This isn't anything where I'm like, oh, you know what? It's about time I got back into acting. No, fuck no. I'm looking to make, truthfully, for the union stuff, it's $187 for 8 hours. That's what it is. So if at $187 for 8 hours, I can do that. I'm happy to be your lamp. I'm happy to be whatever the fuck that you want. So I was telling them that I had to call an operator, and Lily's back now. I don't know what happened. The dogs have killed someone in the living room. You all right?
No.
Okay. What did they? Let me ask you this.
It doesn't matter.
Really? Okay. Did they find
the problem is my roommate cannot help right now because he's in the middle of making a balloon sculpture, and we can laugh about that if we want, but unfortunately I have 2 dogs. Yeah, I have 2 dogs right now that even with the door open to go outside, come back in, have all their food, have treats, and have new squeaky toys they love. The only thing they want right now is to be with me. Yeah.
Did they find your Saturday Night Live throw rug? Is that what they did? And they took care of that now?
No.
All right. I'll try to get through this then. I know you've got dogs nipping at your heels. So So what I was saying is when I first tried to sign in, it warns you, don't fill out a duplicate application.
Yes.
If you're ever signed up for Central Casting, don't do it again. So I called them and I gave my names, I gave all my email addresses and phone numbers from the past because I thought I signed up 25 years ago. Because when I first came to town, I signed up in a bunch of extras places. And it doesn't make sense to me that I would not sign up for Central Casting. Okay. Because quite frankly, I thought it was Central Casting that got me basketball. I thought. But that was a story in itself. And I'll get to that in a second. But she told me, she goes, you're not in our records. Go ahead and feel free to fill it all out. And then I filled it all out. And then I got to the social security number and it wouldn't take it. It took everything else. It took my neck measurements, my biceps, all the fucking pants I wear. It took the fact that I could kick a soccer ball, all of that. But it still gave me an appointment to come in. So I was like, all right, if I get there and they make me refill all this shit out, I'm going to fucking lose my mind. I was just, and again, it shouldn't be that big a deal, but at the same time, you don't want to go there and have them tell you, oh no, you did this wrong, and because it's not my fault. Again, I was trying to fill it in and it wouldn't accept my social, whatever the fuck. Yeah. So I get there and they're very kind, and there was like 8 other people, and they said, okay, go sit over here. They'll call your name. And I said, okay, I actually have a situation. So I just want to make sure that I don't want to waste anybody's time, but also at the same time, it's going to be a longer conversation than just press this button. And they're like, all right, well, we'll remember that. And they were very kind. So this woman then calls me up, calls my name, and I go to the front, and she could not have been more chipper, more lovely, more nice. Oh my gosh, Mike, how are you? It's nice to have you here, Michael. Thank you. It's really friendly, super big. And because they want, that's who they want in their extras too. You know what I mean? That's what they're looking for. So I said, hey, thank you for having me here. I have to ask you though, there's an issue. I filled all of this stuff out online. And she goes, I don't see your file here at all. I go, I know, because it wouldn't let me file it because I got all the way to the end with my social security number. I even brought my laptop. I'll show it to you if you want to look at it. I go, but I filled it all out right to the end and it won't give me the high sign. It doesn't say that it qualifies me. And she says, well, have you ever been with Central Casting before? And I said, I think so, but I'm not sure because it's 25 years ago. I go, and I called your hotline. And Luann, the very nice lady, said that I was clear. She goes, I don't have any of these. Can I even give my landline? I gave them all these fucking old pieces of information. She goes, none of that is in here. I said, great. She said, great. Let me take a look. So she goes, what's your name? And I go, give me the social. And I gave her the social and she starts looking. And she goes, go have a seat and we'll call you when you're ready. I sat down and I hear her. She goes, oh, and she just starts laughing. All right. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. I got no idea at this point. Because again, they're trying to be big personality, but still, who's laughing? She goes, Michael. And I go, yes. And she goes, come over here. And I go over. And she says, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this. She goes, you are in our system. And I said, okay, I thought I might be. I go, that's probably why they wouldn't accept it. She goes, yeah. She goes, but it's really weird. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what's really weird, but do I have to go home? Like, what's happening here? And she goes, no, you're not going to believe this. I can't figure it out myself. But I've pulled it up and you are in our system, but it's not your name. I said, what does that mean? And she goes, yeah, I don't. Take a look. And she turns the thing around. She goes, all it has is the name Michael and your social security number. And this picture. And I said, well, that's odd, right? And she goes, yeah, that's really odd. Like, and then I realized, I've told the story on here many times how I got basketball.
Yeah.
I was in the office, and so now I remember exactly who it was. It was Central Casting. I was in the office of Central Casting trying to register. And in the middle of my registering, the casting director came in and saw me sitting there. He goes, what are you doing here? And I said, I don't know. I'm trying to sign up. And he goes, come with me. And he looked at the woman behind the counter and he goes, hold that. And we split. And so all she had entered was my first name, my fucking social security number, and that photo forever. I was in their system for 25 years, just as Michael, like some hairstylist, like Prince. I mean, I don't even know what the fuck. So I had been in their system. She had never completed the app because I never came back there to finish filling out anything because I got the fucking job at basketball and I wound up working 6 weeks. And so I tell her that story and she's like, oh my gosh. She goes, you know what? I can't believe that the person in the office didn't go ahead and fill it out. And I go, I don't either. That just seems like laziness, right? She goes, it does. It seems like laziness. And I said, absolutely. And we had a great laugh. And then she signed me up and I was like, all right, well now I'm here for, because again, it was part of the yearly plan of 2023. I'm signed up now for extra things. I got this and that. Well, I interviewed, like I said, 6 times at 3 grocery stores. No, sir. I have been pinged 7 times in 2 months for casting stuff just to see if I'm available. And I say yes. And they don't choose me. I have not been chosen for one production. And then my blood was rejected by science. I'm like, what the fuck? Dudes, again, I can't rock bottom right. And the thing that makes me laugh too is, again, look, I'll be honest with you. Central Casting, they're looking for background actors. All right. Right now, I'm 6'2", 350. That is inherently not background. All right.
No.
If you are 6'2", 350, you are consistently foreground no matter where they put you. And I understand this. So I'm going to have to wait for some fucking thing where they have like either a giant crowd scene or they need football idiots or bouncer idiots. That's usually what I would get called for when I was doing my, when I was doing commercials and shit like that. That's what I would always get called for. So I have to root for some huge production where they can just bury me in the crowd or whatever the fuck. But even so, are they going to do that for a union guy? They'll just pick a bunch of fucking bagels and bananas and throw them out there. They're not going to fucking even think about it. So it's like,
bananas.
That's the other, I called them that when I worked on basketball, because they got free, like we got catered food. And then you'd walk in the hallway of the LA Sports Arena and there would just be piles of bananas and bagels for free for anybody who wanted them. That's how they fed people there. It was like fucking insane.
Yeah. No, it's
so my point is, so now year 2023, I'm like, you know what? Start working at a grocery store. Going to do some extra work on the side, possibly fill in with some Uber, go give blood a couple times a week. We're looking good. We're feeling good about it. None of it. All of it fell through. All of it trapdoor. All of it swinging from the measuring tape I put around my fucking neck to figure out just what kind of shirt I'd have to wear if I was in a courtroom scene some fucking where. God damn it. But all of that was being positioned as the way to make money so I could also do this in 2023. And this leads to me to what you had asked me. I'm going to be doing more stand-up this year. I have a goal. Here's the goal. The goal is to do stand-up all year. Near the end of the year, I would love to do some out of town stuff. If anybody even fucking cares, they probably don't, which is fine. I won't be able to book a theater and do a Mike Schmidt show. I might have to go to cities and work on showcases and stuff like that. But again, that was part of having the money, was I'd be able to travel and whatever the fuck. But also, the goal is by 2024, to, in addition to doing this and anything in town, to also take gigs on ships.
Right.
Because, Lenny's on ships and he's very successful. I'm not saying I can do it because he can do it. He's a comedian who's worked extremely hard in his career, but I'm funny.
Yeah.
And I can be funny on stage for 30 minutes at a time. And I can put together 3 different 30-minute acts and a dirty one if I have to. And, it's just time to quit fucking around. You know what I mean? It's just, and I looked at it as this would be a year of jail, a year I gave up to a grocery store, a year to a regular gig, a year to working things around to get in shape physically, mentally, and on stage to start doing stand-up and getting back used to being on stage and getting your chops back. I had booked April with Lenny again in Zanies. But I was going to do a different set every night to try to start, working toward that goal. And I found out today that got postponed. Thank you, Damon Wayans Jr. So I'll be there with him later in the year. He took the gig. It's the only week he had, so they bumped Lenny and moved him to another month. Once that's finalized, I'll go with Lenny and do that. But also, like, when I'm in town, maybe I'll go do other shows too and try to get on stage. And I'll try to go, because I'm always talking about in LA, I'm like, oh, well, nobody knows who I am, and you go to open mics. Well, you know what? There's a reason nobody knows who the fuck you are. You don't go do anything. And you bringing up the Mayflower is kind of fortuitous now that I think about it, because look, I started, I've avoided stand-up on my own. I've even avoided watching it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, watching it makes me angry that I didn't work at it. And I go, well, I could have, if I had done this, I could have done this. I mean, I did this, I could have done this, all of those sorts of things.
Yep.
I watched Jackie Cation's special on YouTube. She has 2 on there. Jackie Cation is a genius. She is a fantastic joke writer. Her stage persona is so relatable. She is just absolutely perfect. And also she is a fucking grinder. She's in New York this week. She's doing 3 sets a night, and because she loves it, she eats it. She devours stand up. And that's what you have to do. You can't half-ass it. You can't be that person. You know what I mean? And even when I was doing it, when I was traveling on the road and stuff like that, I was good at it, but then I felt all you needed to do was write bits and go on stage, and that's not it. There's other things. You have to get calluses. You have to bomb. You have to do all these things. And I never wanted to bomb. I looked at it as a failure if you bombed, when in reality, those are the miles. That's what you're supposed to be doing. I've lined up a bunch of specials to watch. I asked my buddy Jimmy, I'm like, who's the funniest guy now? Who's the funniest comic out there? And he said, Nate Bargatze. I haven't watched Nate's specials, but I will. I put him in the queue. You know who I watched? I watched fucking Patrice O'Neal from 2000. I think it's 2013, maybe. I don't remember. It's the only hour-long special. It's on fucking Paramount. And they did a show where it's like a bunch of clips of him and a bunch of people paying tribute to him, but there's only like hour-long stand-up. Jesus fucking Christ. That dude, what a loss. Because I used to love him before. I'd see him on Tough Crowd. I'd hear him on fucking clip shows and stuff. Any of those clips with Opie and Anthony, you'd just be like, this guy's a fucking monster. He's just one of the funniest human beings I've ever seen. And then to watch this special, I'm like, and then because then there's smart behind it, and he's just fucking great. Like it would have been interesting to see what he would be doing now, because we see what happened with. And again, I went and saw Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock down in San Diego, and it was in addition to going with my friend Doug and seeing a great comedy show, it was kind of a field trip, in that I got to watch guys and look at their beats and see how they do things. And like Chris Rock is putting together a special, so he had like 4 teleprompters around the stage, and he wasn't the Chris Rock you're used to, where he's prowling the stage and kind of really aggressive. He was doing a set that he was learning, essentially. You could tell, you know what I mean? He had bits that he was working out and making them fit. So because he's doing that.
Wasn't that in an arena?
Yes.
He was learning bits in an arena.
He's good enough to where it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I know it because I'm a comedian. Okay.
Yeah.
He was killing. He was doing bits. He was crushing.
Yeah.
But I can see that he's building the language. I could see. I'm not trying to be.
No. I understand. I get it. I am just questioning that process, because I can tell you, I did a New Year's Eve show where a certain comic was reading off of paper, and I was furious.
He wasn't reading off of paper, but you can tell the difference between his aggressive style and also he's got a live special in March, so he's getting ready for it. This is the road work. This is why he shows up at the Improv at midnight and does an hour. You know what I mean? And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe he's here. It's because that's how you have to do it. Yeah. And those shows, sometimes he'll bring paper, like to the Improv or something like that, where because he's working out concepts and jokes.
But that you expect.
Right. But he didn't, I'm saying he didn't have paper. It was just, and again, the crowd loved him. I get it. Yeah. But I could tell that he was finding his way. You know what I mean? He didn't bomb. He did great. But I was shocked by the difference in his stage demeanor, especially because then he went first. He did almost an hour, and then Chappelle came on after him and did like 45, 50, I forget. And he was just super laid back. Like he never looks like he's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And whether that's good or bad, whatever you think, we know how you feel about him, and that's fine. He did some things in the show that I didn't agree with. You know what I mean? Where I was just like, it's beneath you. You don't have to do this. I don't know why you're doing it. But he does it almost you can see when he does, whatever. I don't want to get into this debate. It doesn't matter. I had a great time at the show. I'm glad Doug brought me. But it was kind of also, like I said, it was a field trip to see that. And then watch Patrice and just go, Jesus Christ, I'm not even the same species as these guys. You know what I mean? I need so much work to be, I need the work. I'm talking about the structure and the work. I'm not talking about the material. I'm talking about even being on stage, seeing Jackie. I couldn't touch her. I mean, she's so fucking good. She's just out in space, and I have a telescope to watch her. She's that good, and you need to work. And so that was part of 2023 too. I was like, I'll be doing this, but then I'll be eating stand-up gigs. I'll be trying to go out there and get a name in Los Angeles again. Just get out there and be on stage and doing stand-up and making it work and getting chops again. So I've been out. I've done a couple gigs. And look, I went about 6 months ago. I went to a show at a place called Sister's Barn down in Redondo. And my buddies Bill Dwyer and Mike Siegel and Murray Valeriano were on the gig. And I was just going to go do the hang. I haven't done a hang in so long. So I drove to Redondo to hang out. And I got down there, and then I walked in, and Siegel goes, "Hey, you want to go up?" I go, "Dude, I'm not going up." And he goes, "Why not? We'll put you up." Right. And I go, "Dude, I'm wearing shorts." And he's like, "So what?" He goes, "Look at this place. You know, it's a bar. You know what I mean? You're okay." Like, he goes, you're not, there's no scouts in here or whatever the fuck. And I go, "Nah, I'm okay. I came to hang out with you guys." And then I spent the whole show watching Murray, watching Bill, watching Mike, watching other comedians, angry at myself that I wouldn't even go back on stage. Like, it was a pussy move to not go up. It was silly. And it was this thing where, like, I didn't even want the hassle of thinking of 5 minutes of jokes. Are you fucking kidding me? What are you doing with yourself? And then the show ended, and it's funny. I looked at Mike and I go, "I should have gone up." And he goes, "Yeah, you should have. What the fuck? Why would you be here if you weren't going to go up?" I go, "I came to hang out with you guys." He goes, "Yeah, but then you could have done a set. It would have been fun." And I go, "You're right. You're right. It won't happen again." So I talked to Becky, who runs the show there. Becky Pedigo, very funny comedian. Becky's one of the first people I saw after the pandemic. We went to Irvine to the Improv because Mike was working and he was opening for Brian Regan. And I'd never seen Brian live. I don't know if I talked about that on here. And fucking, he's again, another one where you're just like, this is the funniest fucking person in the world. And it's so funny how you can see these comedians at different times and go, "This is the funniest person in the world. This is the funniest person I've ever seen." And then the next night you see somebody go, this might be the hardest I've ever laughed. It's so great to have an art form that can take you to those different places.
Yes.
With different structures and different acts and different approaches and different viewpoints. It is, when it's done right, it is fucking masterful. And it's such a shame that it's deteriorated into this argument over what you can and can't say and the cancel culture and, oh my God, they're all policing me. Hey man, Brian Regan has been the funniest fucking guy on the planet and selling out theaters forever. And nobody gives a fuck about cancel culture or shit when he's on stage because he's just fucking funny. Like, he's not a guy who's those people who are like, stand-up has to be, you have to make people think. You got to make people, it's okay if you make people mad. It's like, Brian Regan is just fucking great. He's just great. Jackie's just fucking great. They're amazing comics. They're so funny. And so these people who insist on saying, well, it's not, we're truth tellers, we're this, we're that. And it's like, you can be that. You can write jokes that deal with societal situations. You can get your viewpoint across. But when you're just fucking throwing haymakers to be a dick, that just doesn't make any fucking sense. And also, like I said, Brian Regan for 30 years has not had a problem selling out fucking giant theaters because he's just fucking hysterical. And it's a shame that you see people who've decided that they need to take this path where, because they don't want to be told what they can and can't say, they insist on saying things that people disagree with or are angry about or that hurt people because they just want to do it. Of course, it's terrible.
It's the hurting. It's that they don't want to have to not be mean. That's the part where I just look at him and I go, "You're just being mean."
Well, being mean can also, it's an easy laugh because you get a ooh, ah, ha, ha.
Oh, yeah.
It's the little boy who says fuck and his parents laugh at the dinner table or whatever. I get it. I understand it. I understand the instinct to go there. I did it myself on stage with things. I said, I used to open with a joke about Michael Jordan's dad dying in Chicago just to see if I could climb my way out of it. It was fucking stupid. I think about it now. I think about all the time I fucking wasted. It's nonsense. And does this mean that, I will say things that aren't offensive or whatever? I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. I'm going to try to be as funny as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And also deliver my viewpoint and tell my stories and do what I can do. But but seeing the art form at its best is for me intimidating as well as exhilarating, because it makes me want to go do it. It makes me want to get back out there. I would love the respect of my peers. I would love to be fucking great. And I would love audiences to go, this fucking guy is awesome. Like, I love when people have written me, they're very kind and they listen to the show and they're just like you weren't around last week for Uncle Henry Hitler's Hash House, but that was something I wound up talking about by myself.
Fuck.
And I made a joke about how he had opened up. I go, that's the problem. Is I go, if you unless you had Hitler's Dutch babies, you can't really fully appreciate the man as on the whole. Sure, he did terrible things. I said, but it's even worse. You know why? You know why he hated the French? Because Uncle Henry Hitler's hash house was doing great, and then right across the street, a Cafe Du Monde opened up, and it cut his business in half. So he fucking hated those people. And then he got so mad he didn't tend to the business, and he went bankrupt. And you know who bought his fucking outlet? Einstein's Bagels. This explains everything. And I was like, I made that shit up on the fly. And I told Lenny about it. And he's like, that's a bit. That's like a fucking 8-minute bit. And I go, I don't know. I don't know if it is or it isn't. Who knows? But the point is, I love when I'm when I'm just fucking barreling downhill. It's so much fun. And the thing is, so I went to Sister's Barn. I saw that show, and then I said to Becky, look, when you're doing the next one, I'd love to be considered to come back. And she said, great. And I didn't hear from her for a while, and I didn't pester her about it. And then I got an email from Siegel. He goes, hey, man, I'm hosting at Sister's Barn again in 2 weeks. You want to do it? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So because yes, fuck yes. Because now I got 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now I can prepare it. I can be ready to go, right? So the day of the show, then I'm just like, I'm still, if you want to talk about ADHD or whatever, I'm still figuring out my set. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do, because I had done some stuff on the road that worked and I liked it. And I think it's funny when I was with Lenny at Zany's. But then I'm like, well, but then I've never had an opening bit. We know this. I've never had an opening piece to go on stage with. So on the way down, driving to Redondo, which is an hour-long ride, a bunch of stuff was happening on the highway. There was a dude next to me. It's been very cold in Los Angeles. And this dude is driving with his top down on the crowded 405 at fucking 6:00. And I'm like, I don't even want to know what diseases you're getting at this point. I mean, it's like a mixture of a cold and then the fucking exhaust. You're literally patient zero for motor COVID. Like, I don't even know what that could possibly entail, but you're it. Nobody should meet this guy. And then there was a car next to me that made a weird, and it made a weird noise. It was his car. It was like, because he was doing that. He had that car. They used to call motorcycles that made this noise a rice burner, like that kind of thing. So his car starts making this weird noise, and then it starts going like a jolt with a cough or whatever. Like, that's fucking banana. Like, why am I even hearing that over the fucking weird engine?
Exhaust sounds?
It was just a weird, like a cough, like almost like a.
Okay.
So he's next to me, and I'm just like, this guy is all fucked up. The car, him, whatever. So I'm building bits in my head, and I'm like, all right, this could go here, and I could talk about this guy, blah, blah, blah. And then he drives away, and I hear the noise again. It's my fucking car. My car is making the coughing noise. So I'm like, I go, and in my brain, I go, Jesus Christ. I go, great. Of course that's happening on the way to this fucking gig. Of course, I go, plus my car's a hybrid. I go, so you know who this is? This is fucking Henry Ford, or the ghost of whoever invented the fucking combustion engine, just climbing out and throttling me for caring about the environment. Like, he's so fucking mad at me now. And blah, blah. And I did that. And then I was talking about Waze in my brain. I'm like, Waze, because Waze wanted me to take me off the highway. Yeah. And I'm like, they just want you to not kill anybody. I go, they did whatever the fuck. So all this stuff I'm creating in the car, I'm like, this is funny. This is funny. Holy shit, this is funny. It was essentially doing a podcast in my head where I'm just thinking of a million things at once. And then I'm like, I only have 20 minutes at this gig. I hope I can get all of this out. Like, I'm in my brain, I'm like, I hope I can absolutely get all of this, in addition to what I wanted to do, but then all this new stuff about driving down there. I'm like, I'm going to this is just going to be, I'll just roll with this and we'll see what happens. So I get to the gig, and it's me and Mike and a guy, Tom Clark, who's a very funny guy out of Wisconsin. And then his wife is there to do a set too. She's also funny. Shelly, maybe? I don't know. She's terrific. That sounded so condescending. But she's great. And so I'm sitting there, and then this guy, Lawrence Thomas. Now, I recognize the name, but I don't, again, I see a million comedians' names. So Lawrence comes in, and then he's with another guy who he probably doesn't want me to say, Dan French. Fuck it, I'll just say it. Dan French is a comedian who used to write for Kilborn and late night shows. And he wrote a thing for Shecky Magazine about what it was like to work in a late night writer's room. And I still have it on my computer to this day. He wrote this in 1998, and I still have it. I learned a lot from it, and I sometimes will go back and read it. I dug it. I know it's completely changed in 25 years or whatever the fuck, but it was interesting. Why are you making that face? What's going on? You okay? Dogs?
Yeah.
You got to check on them? All right. Go take care of them. That's fine. Well, you left, so I can't say anything. So Lawrence Thomas shows up, right? And he shows up at the gig and he's closing the thing. And I had seen his name on the poster. By the way, Lily's not here now. I'm talking only to you guys. And this is funny. Whenever I do this show with Lily, I'm talking to Lily. But then you guys get to hear it. But now she splits. And so now I pivot and then I'm talking to you guys. Now also before this even airs, you're going to hear me talking specifically to you guys. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe I should just stop talking altogether. Maybe I just fucking put a lid on it. But I'm not going to lie to you. It is an odd pivot from talking to her to just talking to you. When I was talking to you and she was listening and laughing, that was one thing. And now talking to her, engaging her in a conversation is different as well. And so different from talking. Why am I telling you this? No one fucking cares. Why? Because you know why? Truthfully, and I'm sure you already know, I'm trying to fill the time until she gets back because I want to tell this story to her. I don't want to just tell it and have her jump in the middle of it. But fuck it. We're all in this together. Here we go. So I show up and Lawrence Thomas is there. He brings his friend Dan French. And I literally, I look at him and I go, Dan French. And I told him, I said, look, man, you wrote this article once about writing for late night television and I saved it. I still have it. And he, look, I don't know what I expected. I don't know if I wanted a hand job or what I wanted out of this fucking guy. But when I told him that, hold on, our friend Lily is arriving back. She's putting, are you okay? Can you stay?
Yeah, I got like maybe 10 more minutes in me. I'm sorry. They're out of control and I don't know what to do right now. So okay. I'm trying to pay attention to this because it's good.
No, that's fine. I totally understand.
Well, I left the door open so that they could go in and out. And so
Sure.
They've decided to sit outside and bark for 5 minutes now because I got a text from a neighbor.
And what? How do you even have your neighbor's phone number? That doesn't make any sense. You don't like anybody.
Because I live in a nice area where everyone is nice to each other and I have to be nice to my neighbors. And Eddie knows them all and I have to be nice to my neighbors.
Well,
I want to live in a little tiny house in the middle of nowhere away from everyone. But unfortunately, I live in a community.
You do indeed. You know what you should do?
So
Text
I
them.
have to have this voice. Hi, it's lovely to see you as you walk by. Sorry, the dogs are barking. They're not even my dogs.
Yeah. You should do me a favor. Text the neighbor and just text rough, rough, bark, 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 rough, 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 bark, bark. And then 2 minutes later, text back, I'm sorry. They grabbed the phone.
I would like to do that.
I would do that all the time. That's all I would do. I'd be like, you think you're having a problem with them? They took my phone. I couldn't even get to it. I apologize to you crazy guys.
What I have learned, though, in the last 2.5 hours we've been doing this podcast, I don't want dogs.
Wow, come on.
Nope.
All right. Well, no, get a dog, but don't raise it on fucking sushi. If you feed a dog ramen, it's going to do this.
I am home all the time, which gives them the expectation that they can be on my lap all the time, even though I make them sleep on the floor and I don't want to talk about the dogs.
Okay. These are some the needy dogs, needy motherfuckers. You would think after dealing with me for 12 years, you couldn't get much needier, but now it's like having two of me running around chasing a tennis ball.
Not.
Holy fuck. All right.
No.
All right. So you give me the high sign when we need to wrap up and we'll figure out whatever. But oh, there's the high sign. All right, I'll wrap it up. I'll tell you the
finish
rest of
this story. I want to hear the rest of it.
Well, there was another story after this story. Anyway, so
you can tell that one after me. I'm gone.
People want to hear that. They'll love it. So this guy Lawrence Thomas shows up and I recognized the name, but I didn't. I met Dan French and I shook his hand and I told Dan, hey man, I have this article that you wrote. And like I said, I was just saying, but you pulled up the earbuds. I don't know if I wanted a hand job or what, but I wanted what I didn't get. You know what I mean? He was just like, oh yeah, no, Shecky Magazine. Yeah, I wrote that a while ago. And I'm like, yeah, I'm literally telling you that for 20 years, I have that article on my computer and we'll consult it. Yeah. And I just went, why did I even tell this guy? Because now I'm in a position of weakness.
No, you know what I mean? Not.
You are in comics and shit like that. Because again, he doesn't know me from fucking anybody. All right.
Okay.
So now,
well, just out of curiosity, when you sniffed his ass, then was he upset with that, or how did he reciprocate?
He wouldn't stop barking at the neighbors. Would not stop barking at the neighbors. But the point is, I've again something he did. I paid him a compliment, and again, he doesn't have any reason to compliment me because he doesn't know if I'm funny or not yet. I haven't been on stage, so he has no fucking clue. So now I'm like, oh fuck, I got to be funny. Holy shit, that's gonna suck. But then Lawrence comes up and he goes, hey, Mike. And I go, hey, Lawrence Mike Schmidt. He goes, yeah, I know you. We used to do that shitty room in Hollywood. And we used to do another. And he starts reeling off these open mics that I did when I first moved here in 97. And I was like, and the second I heard his voice, I go, holy fuck, yeah. Cause he's from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like he's got a country accent. And I was like, holy fuck. I go, what are you doing? And he's like, you know what? He goes, I'm a bartender now. Here I live. I got a big house and I'm doing real well. I'm off the road. And he's like, I don't know what's going to happen tonight. And I go, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, I know Becky. She asked if I wanted to do this, but I don't. He goes, I'm listening to my CD from 2006, wondering what bits I have that work. Like, I don't even know. And I'm like, oh, fuck. All right. Well, I didn't feel so bad then that I'm going to do 15 minutes about the guy in the car next to me on the freeway. Right. So, but I'm locked. Like I said, I've got all this time just from driving down. I got all these bits about ways and school fucking zones and all this. I'm ready to kill. And Mike goes up and, I should say this. They seat the room. There's 11 people. And that's fine. You know what I mean? I didn't expect it's a bar. And the last time I was there with those guys, they had about 40 people. So Becky actually said to me when I walked in, she goes, hey, look, she goes, we literally had a full table cancel an hour ago. Because this is about a month ago when that COVID, whatever the fuck it was, I don't know, Jamboree, whatever the fuck they're naming them these days. There's some new strain, you know what I mean? Just like, oh, paprika. Everybody's home with paprika. You're not going to fucking get an audience tonight. All right, great. So there was 11 people and Mike went up to silence. Mike would do a bit but they weren't mean.
Yeah.
It's just, there's 11 people. So Mike did okay. And then, he brought up, Tom actually, you know what? Tom wasn't on the bill. Stephanie Clark was, and the bill was only me, Mike, and Lawrence. Stephanie was doing a guest set because Becky said comedians also pulled out on her. So Steph goes up and she does her act. And then I'm next and I've got to do 20 minutes in front of 11 people. I'm like, it's fine. We'll just fucking roll with it. And I don't want to talk to anybody really. Cause again, there's only 11 people and I certainly don't want to do it in front of Lawrence. Cause if Lawrence is going to talk to people, then you got to save that for him. So I go up on stage and I just fucking start doing the stuff about driving up and all this. And I'm fucking hitting him, bam, bam, with the guy motor COVID and fucking getting off the 405 because it's even the Waze understands that you need a break from traffic, blah, 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 blah. And remember I said, I'm like, I hope I can fit all of this in the 20 minutes and then I'll be able to get to my other stuff. And I do all the stuff about driving there and then I do all my other stuff. And I'm 7 minutes into my set. 7 minutes. Because I thought, like this show, even when you're not here, I can just expand on stuff and talk.
Yeah.
And just kind of make it bigger and bigger. But when you're laughing, I tag shit and I do it to make it funnier and funnier, in my opinion. Well, they weren't laughing. Like they would politely like laugh and then they'd kind of stop. There was no roll. There was absolutely no roll to build on. So then I kept thinking they would just all of a sudden lock into my way of thinking. Cause basically I was podcast Mike because I was talking and then I would pivot and I would kind of do this stuff. And you could see that I wasn't loud and aggressive, but even following along my train of thought and the way I was speaking, I could see it was difficult for them because it was very different from stand up to a certain extent. It was an extemporaneous bursting of ideas with some structure. And they would laugh. They did laugh at everything I said. Nothing bombed. Yeah. But I was just throwing material into the fire and it was just burning up. Mm-hmm. And then I had like 12 minutes left. And so I told the 7-Eleven story because I was like, because I literally, I didn't know what the fuck else to do. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Because even the stuff I had been doing at Zany's on the road with Lenny when I was doing 20, 25 minutes, I would tell a long story sometimes. So I just told the 7-Eleven story. And I was happy I did because then that did well. And, I forgot to tell you something. When Lauren started ringing up those Hollywood open mics and stuff.
Yeah.
He also goes, hey, let me ask you something. He goes, do you still do that joke? And I go, which one? But I kind of knew which one. And he goes, the N-word that cured cancer.
Oh yeah.
And I said, I haven't done it. And he just goes, never forgot that joke. He goes, the first time you did it, he goes, it just burned in my brain. He goes, I tell people it all the time. And I was just like, and it's funny because, and again, I'm not jerking off. Patton Oswalt came up to me, him and Brian Posehn, the night I did it, and they were like, "That's
Yeah.
the funniest thing I've ever heard. That's the funniest joke I've ever
Well,
heard."
and again, it's not just funny. And it's not a punch in the face mean. It's a reality check that is funny.
Yeah, it made a point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So whatever. And so who cares? But it did make me go, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I haven't done this. I haven't seen Lawrence in 20 years. And I haven't done stand-up with any regularity in 15. And there's a guy out there who remembers my joke and keeps telling it to everybody. Like, it made me go, fuck, you know what, dude? You have worth. You were good at this. Like, you have something to bring to the table here. You can't let it die. And again, I was formulating my plan anyway, but then this made me just go, well, now you know. You know, and do I really know? Maybe not, but it was nice to know in that moment that someone knew and remembered that kind of thing. And so I did my set and I told the 7-Eleven story. And again, it was fine. It wasn't good, really. It was just 11 people. You know what I mean? Sometimes that happens in stand-up. And then afterwards, like, people were like, how did it go? I said, well, all of us went up and did our act. And then afterwards, we all sat around and told each other great set. I said, that's what it was, because none of us had a great set. But we also understood, because we've done this for so long, that in a room of 11 people, getting people to laugh and pay attention the entire time is also kind of a victory. You know what I mean? Because truthfully, none of us should have been doing 20 minutes. You know what I mean? We should have been doing 10-minute sets. Even Lawrence was on stage and he would start a joke and then he'd just go, I don't remember the end of that joke. And he goes, so you know what? Let's do another one. Let's go this route. You know what I mean? He just did that. And people, it was that kind of a loose night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Lawrence had more confidence with it than I did. Like, I would not have been good about going, I don't remember that, because I would have then been like, you fucking idiot, why don't you remember this shit? I would have been mad at myself, you know, and I don't ever want that to be the case. So my point is,
what night of the week was that?
That was a Thursday. Might have been a Thursday.
Okay.
It was a weeknight.
Okay.
So I know you have dogs and I know you have panting.
Yeah.
But let me tag that with this if I can.
Yeah.
So I did it and I did 20 minutes and I was like, all right, that was fine. About 10 days later, my buddy Jeff was like, hey, I need you to do me. Can you take me to a gig? And I said, sure. Where is it? And he said, it's in Santa Clarita. It's on a Saturday.
Oof.
Come pick me up. And I said, yeah, that's fine. I'm happy to do it. And he said, do you want to go up? And I said, well, I know the guy who books the room. I've worked his room. I have a history with him. I've worked at his rooms many times. I go, I'm not sure he would want me to go up. I said, but you can check, because this guy used to book a room. He used to book a room in Santa Clarita. It was a Marie Callender's. And they had a side room that was it was perfect for comedy. It was like this, and so they would do comedy in it, and you couldn't say fuck. You couldn't. Yeah. He would took bullets out of your gun where you couldn't swear. And then one night, there was like 25 people, and it was kind of freewheeling, and some guy in the audience said fuck. So I was like, all right. And then I did it in my set a couple times, and I did huge laughs.
Yeah.
And then he was furious. He's like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I go, dude, the audience was, the guy said it back to me. So I said it back to him. And he's a good guy. He has rooms. He does very well. We have another history. Like, I worked with him on the road once, and he doesn't remember this. First night I ever met him, we worked together at a club in, fucking Iowa. And, afterwards, I stayed to watch his act, because I did with every time I'd work with somebody, I'd watch their act the first night.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you want to go get something to eat? And I said, sure. And then we went out to eat, and he spent the entire meal telling me why I was never going to make it in the business. Because I swore too much. I was too aggressive with my language, and I needed to temper that. And because audiences don't like it and TV doesn't like it. And clearly I wasn't going to do it. And I sat there and ate my late night Fridays food and just was like, okay, cool. And I just was like, I hate this guy forever. So then when I came to LA, he had rooms, and I wanted to work the rooms, and he did not remember me. So I worked the rooms, and I've done extremely well in his rooms. One night I went up on stage and the power went out, and I improvised for fucking 12 minutes, and I destroyed. It's one of the funniest nights I've ever had on stage, and it was the only time Pardo was weird about following me, because he was like, "Man, you pretty much you made everything you wrung everything out of this, every drop you could get." And I was like, "What am I going to do?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. We should just fucking shut it down." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You're going to fucking destroy." And then he went up on stage and he fucking destroyed, because he's him. But it was the only time I ever made him kind of go, which was, I liked. So I said, "Jeff, I don't know if he's going to want me to go up." So then the night of, Jeff is like, "Well, I can get you 5 minutes if you want, probably." I said, and I went, "I don't know if," and I kept finding excuses to not do it. And I'm like, this is so against everything you fucking said you were going to do, man. What is your issue? And it's 5 minutes in a pie house. What the fuck are you scared of? Why wouldn't you do this? And so I then texted Jeff and I go, "Yeah, man, I want to go up. Absolutely." And he goes, "All right, I'll ask him. We'll see if we can get you up or whatever." So I took Jeff there, and then it was just presumed I was going to do 10. I showed up, and the guy who was hosting it is this guy, Paul. And he goes, "All right, Mike, you'll do 10 because our feature act is stuck in traffic." He goes, "So I'll go up and do my time, and then you do 10. Or if you can keep going, I'll give you the stretch. But, if she gets here in time, she'll go up." And I said, "Great, whatever you need," which used to be the answer.
Yeah.
That always used to be the answer. "Great, whatever you need. What do you need? I can do it." So he did his set, and then he brought me up. And I will tell you this, 14 people, 17 maybe. So again, same type of small crowd, same type of atmosphere, wooden tables. Like, it was almost exactly the same as Sister's Barn.
Yeah.
And the only difference was there was a pallet you could stand on. So you're a little higher than the audience. You're at a stage. And I went up, and I purposely in my brain said, "All right, do this different." I had the set I wanted to do, the 5 minutes easy. And then when he said 10, I was like, "All right, well, I can do this and talk a little bit about the place." And, you just go through it in your head. But I said, "But the most important thing you need to do here is you need to do jokes. You can't just wing it. You can't be podcast Mike. You have to be stand-up Mike. You have to figure out who he is." And he brought me on stage, and he had the mic in the mic stand. And I used to, I hold the microphone, the mic stand, when I don't take the mic out of the stand, but recently I've been taking whatever. So I took the microphone and I went to pull it out of the stand and it wouldn't come out. And I pulled it, and I even said hi. I pulled it and it hit me in the fucking mouth.
Oh, Jesus.
I hit myself in the mouth with the fucking microphone. and everybody goes, "Oh," because it was a shot. There was clearly. And I laughed and I go, "Hey, you wouldn't imagine I've done this for 30 years, would you?" And that got a laugh. And then I tasted blood. And I went, "I'm bleeding, right?" And they went, "Oh my God." And I put my fingers to my lips. I've got blood all over I cut my lip open in the craziest way. And I've got blood on my fingers. And then I just talked about that for like 5 minutes. Just making fun of the fact that I did that, but did it in a smart way and in a quiet, I played to their level. I did it right. But I could feel my lips swelling, and I would say that I'd be like, I took a shot like George Foreman came up here and punched me in the face. I go, "I'm not used to getting hit until after my set. I'm not going to lie to you." Whatever, just silliness. But it wasn't quick. I paced it, and I didn't come at them aggressively. And then I made fun of it for a good 5 minutes, and I wound up doing like 15. And I did a set. I did jokes. I did the bits that I had planned to do in addition to working in the fact, but I bled the whole set. I kept dabbing a napkin on my mouth because I was bleeding. And I'm sure that engendered instant sympathy with them. So the audience wanted to like me anyway.
Yeah.
But then the way I dealt with it made them really like me, where I ingratiated myself almost instantly by making fun of myself instead of being like shocked or mad or furious or whatever. And I felt like a comic. It was amazing. It was that thing where, again, there's 14 people there. I got laughs through the entire set. I improvised, and also Jeff had never seen me on stage. Jeff I've been driving him back and forth, and Jeff had his own sitcom. I did a show about Jeff a couple years ago. Jeff has had incredible success in this business, and he likes me. He's just met me. I've driven him around places, and he just thinks I'm fucking funny as a normal guy. So it was important for me to do well in front of him, and then I did. And he afterwards, he was just like, why aren't you doing this all the time? Like, you should be out there all the time. And it meant a lot. It meant a ton. And I was so proud of myself because I made adjustments from Sisters Barn. Will they carry through to every show? I don't know if they will. Will it be something I'm able to do every time I'm on stage? Can I control who I am and getting mad and furious and all those things? I don't know. I'm going to try, but you can only do it by getting out there and doing it as much as you possibly can. So when you ask me about the Mayflower, I say to you, I would be very interested in something like that. I don't know what it would be. I don't know if it would be 2020. I don't know if it would just be me and 5 comics doing 10 minutes each. I don't know. I have enough comic connections and friends to where I would love to produce a show. I would want to pay them something.
Do they all pay you?
Well, I mean, I didn't make money. I made money at Sisters. Even though there's 11 people, we all got paid.
Okay.
And I didn't make money because I was just doing a guest set in Santa Clarita.
Okay.
So, regardless of whether they pay me, I would want to have
I don't know what the standard is for pay right now for comics for a 20-minute for a small show. I mean, I can tell you that magicians get anywhere between $200 and $3,000.
It's not that.
You know,
it would be
so
literally when we were doing 20, I gave people $20.
Yeah, it's a guess.
It
tank
fit
of
the
gas.
theme.
Yeah.
And people like to do a long set in town.
Yeah.
And that used to be a tank of gas.
No, yeah.
that I was just going to say the standard used to be if you could give somebody a tank of gas, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I would reach out to people, and if they wanted to do it, I would want to offer them something.
Well, here's why I ask. You know, I have to go to the board and say, I want to bring in a comedy show, and a comedy show costs X, or we have to do a split a door with them. And, you know, this is what they expect to make. This is what we have to, you know, anticipate. You know, we know the first few will be 20 people because we're starting, you know,
Right.
And so I have to say we need to commit to some money if we're going to do this, or I have to bring you in as a producer and you have to commit to paying people.
Well,
And,
2020 was different because, again, I'm asking 2 other comics to essentially do a 20-minute set.
Yeah.
And so and also I brought in names, you know, I brought in people who were real good.
Yeah.
And I'd still want to do that with Mayflower. I'd want to get my friends and people who are funny and people who are working all the time. It's a discussion, but I mean, I'll ask around, but I mean, I would love to do it. So, so the bottom line though is that's, I keep talking about how I have plans for 2023. Well, my plan was to get a full-time gig and possibly do this blood thing and then some extra work and all these, and get in the car a couple times. And in addition, working out and getting healthy and then also doing stand-up. And I waited, and then I finally gotten the word that none of that stuff's going to happen. The only thing that can happen is me working. What are you doing with your arm there?
My elbow hurts.
I see. Is working out. You know, I can handle that myself. Stand up, I can handle that myself. And Uber, I'm going to have. That's just what it's going to be. It's just what it's going to be. And it's a scary thing right now because again, I'm really up against it. But the good thing about Uber is you make money every day when you drive. But the problem is I just don't know what it's going to be like with the gas prices. That's going to be an issue. And also I was looking to pivot from my insurance company to a different insurance company. And I wanted to tell the other insurance company that I wasn't going to ride share because I would imagine that would save me some money because I'm 55. There's no reason my fucking car insurance should be what it is. I haven't had a fucking violation in 9 years.
It's insane for everybody.
Yeah, it's crazy. So,
it is.
So you bring it up and I'd love to do it.
Okay.
Because again, that was all part of the plan, and to have my own show would be ridiculous. You know, monthly, weekly. How would you want to do it?
Right now we're doing things either once a month or twice a month, just to try to build them up and see how they're going to go.
Let me ask you this: Are you and I having a phone conversation in front of people who don't care?
No, I think they do care. Well, again, they do care. And by the way, come join the Mayflower Club because I'm going to start getting more interesting, cool stuff happening there.
Cool.
You know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I'm interested. So yeah, I'd love to do it because the plan is to do a lot more stand up in town, and then by the end of the year be ready. And it was funny because Lenny's like, you could probably do it now, and I'm like, nah, I need to be good again. I can't run the risk of doing it and then it not going well and then them not bringing me back
for the cruise. You mean
for any of the boats? Yeah, you know what I mean,
yeah. Well, that's why I'm thinking if you did 2020 for 3 months, twice a month, you're going to get a good feel of what it is that you want to take on a cruise ship. Because I mean, can you tell the 7-Eleven story? Is that your dirty set?
It's not dirty.
Is that
none
your
of my-
early set? I mean, I
That's the
don't know.
thing,
What,
none of
what
my
would
stuff-
that fit?
Is a weird hybrid of what I have to do is because look, I did the 7-Eleven story at Bridgetown in
Yeah.
Portland, and it was over an hour.
Yeah.
What I can do is I can take that and strip mine it and make it a 10-minute bit,
Yeah.
a 10-minute story. Then I'm in Ron Stock territory and those guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those were your successful storyteller comics. But that's what I need. I need to
Yeah.
make that muscle because my instinct is to always tag shit and to always live within the story. And then we're all of a sudden we're at 18 minutes.
Yeah.
And the harsh reality is maybe not everybody will think that everything I say is awesome like I do.
Yes.
So when I do the podcast, I can say whatever the fuck I want on stage. And again, I've been surgical on stage. I've written material and bits that were with laser point precision. You know what I mean? So that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Is I need to look. For years, I've talked about going back and finding chunks and shows that I could turn into bits. You know what I mean? And that's essentially what I did when I went to Zanies. Like the whole bit about Amazon and going to the moon and, you know, sometimes you need a spatula. All that shit was from the show. It's just I turned it into bits. You know what I mean? I turned it into the structure of it. Buying a pie that was $50, I made that a bit. So that's all. And doing stuff on stage will allow me to workshop stuff and make it work. So I could tell the 7-Eleven story, but it would have to be like a 10-minute.
But I mean,
5-minute.
that's what I think you have to do is you have to find, 4 stories to put together like you did for the one-man show. I mean, that's the basis of putting together a 40-minute set for a cruise.
Exactly. Well, also there's stuff on the cruise too. Like you need 3 separate clean sets, and then you need a dirty set. And that's the funny thing is like I don't even know what my dirty set would be. Like which sounds weird to say, but like all I do is I say fuck. I don't talk about fucking really. So there to me that's not dirty per se. So I would have to find a way to pivot and tell those stories in that fashion. But I don't know. I mean, who knows? But yeah, so I mean, I would be interested in doing it and going on stage. So I would really like that actually, if that's a possibility. So
yeah.
But it's funny too, is I'm like, already I'm going, well, I would want to pay the comics instead of going, fuck, I can get on stage twice. You know what I mean? Like I'm already thinking of the other thing than the thing that would benefit me.
I feel like you do. It's like I value people. And so it's like I brought in the bingo and I'm like, this is what it's going to cost to bring bingo in. We need this many tickets sold at the door just to break even the first time we do it. And then we go from there. And they all look at me and they're just like, you're like, and I go, I ran a show for 15 years. I've run my own businesses, I will not say there is money for flowers if I don't know how I'm going to pay for flowers. We don't buy flowers unless I know we can raise that money.
Right.
So it's like, there's a lot of things where, I think I will help them. And I think that I can bring things in through the entertainment that I know, because I'd like to bring in a circus show too, I think. Okay. I think that would be a good thing to have in there as well. So, all right. Nice. Well, anyway, thank you. I hope we can make that work.
I hope we can too. Although this sounds dangerously close to the end of the interview I had at the grocery store. Thank you. I hope we can make it work. Well, fantastic. I can't wait to hear from you by Friday. Well, maybe by Monday. Terrific. And cut to next Monday. And I get a call from you and you don't even leave a voicemail. And this whole fucking thing got a trap door pulled on it. And then I'm back to measuring my neck and people screaming at me not to fucking do it. Don't do it. Jesus. All right, go take care of fucking frickin' frack. Make sure they don't piss on anything that you collected.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Love you. Thanks.
Love you.
If there's anything I like more than me, it's people who like me. I love me, but if you love me, I love you. 'Cause you know why we both love me. How great am I? Let's talk about that for a while. And by a while, I mean forever.
My name is Paul Gilmartin, and I am the host of the Mental Illness Happy Hour podcast, where we have raw conversations about the stuff that's difficult to talk about out loud. It's made best of lists and been praised by the New York Times, Esquire, Psychology Today. And I have on regular people, therapists, and famous people like Mark Maron, Tiffany Haddish, Catherine Hahn, and Rob Delaney. Check it out, the Mental Illness Happy Hour.